And we're rolling on a Friday with Perfect Strangers intro to start. How about that?
Man, Perfect Strangers in the opening liner. You know it's gonna be a good day.
Hello, Perfect Strangers. Exactly what I needed on a Friday morning to start.
First weekend without football. We definitely needed
How about that? I said earlier in the week I wasn't going to do my normal get on the soapbox and be depressed about the end of football season because we actually got football season this year, and it wasn't a given. And we actually will have some spring football. I'm going to try to live up to that brag from earlier in the week, but staring at a weekend of no football right now, it is a different feeling. There's no doubt about it. Bill, what about you? How do you look at the weekend going in at this point?
Tell you what, man, I am slightly depressed about the whole Pebble Beach situation. I mean, golf.
What's the situation? Nobody good's playing?
Well, people are. I don't want to put anybody down. Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler. I mean, there are names, but you're right. 8 of the top 10 are not in Pebble Beach. I was talking to my buddy Matt yesterday at LJ's, and Matt is out there at Lakeland Country Club and has a house down in Hilton Head on. Why am I drawing a blank on the Heritage course? Whatever it is, but he was saying Harbortown. Thank you. He was saying that players would rather play Riviera, the Genesis Open next weekend, and I'm excited. Like I was genuinely, I don't know how to explain it. Like I was like, last week was fun golf. Last week was fun. I think Tim, you said you got into it on Sunday. Patrick, you're not a golf watcher, are you? I mean, like a golf is kind of an old man's like, hey, I'm going to take a nap and have it on in the afternoon, and maybe my wife will fix me a sandwich kind of sport, right?
I don't have a wife to fix me a sandwich, but I do like sleeping with golf on. I do believe that golf is the best thing to fall asleep with.
You got a girlfriend. I think you still have a girlfriend, right? After last week, that was a big Twitter outrage. We should just go ahead. I mean,
yeah, last week was a positive.
Okay, we're just making sure. I didn't know if you messed up the cooking or anything, if the crab dip or okay, all right.
It was a long day on Sunday. That's a good point.
You pointed.
Super Bowl brings out a lot of emotions.
Well, and you pointed that out. By the way, how'd she do on the bet?
On the what? Oh yeah, she won. She bet Bucks money line.
So did you have to pay up, or did you have to call the bookie and be like, hey?
Well, no, she also bet Mike Evans' first touchdown, and she convinced. We went in together on the coin flip. I wanted heads, she wanted tails. I deferred to her, and we lost. So she actually came out like only $3 ahead.
That was pretty easy to come out of pocket for. Or you just told her you turned the heat on next time she was there.
No, I actually placed her bet. Like I put it in for her.
Oh, no, I mean that's what I'm saying. You still got to like pay up. You owe her $3. I didn't know if you were like, oh, here's the $3, or hey, sweetie, you get 12 minutes of heat next time. I'll turn on the heat here. But I say all that because last week was fun to watch. It was fun to watch what do you want me to call it? The Phoenix Open, not the Waste Management. The Phoenix Open.
Phoenix or Scottsdale, anything but
Scottsdale. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch. Tim, I think you said you got into it. There was a great leaderboard. You don't have the fans, and I understand that does take away from some, but it was a great leaderboard last week. So I was excited about Pebble Beach yesterday, and we started discussing it on the radio. I was like, oh, sad. And I think John Rahm, our loyal listener Heather, hit me up on my personal text line and told me that John Rahm's wife is like very pregnant and expecting a baby basically any day. We talked about Justin Thomas. His grandfather passed away, so there's a lot of stuff going on. But I guess at the end of the day, we don't get quite the. I'm a little shocked by this, and again, this is where I was talking to Matt about it yesterday, good buddy at LJ's, and and we were discussing the field at Pebble Beach is not what you normally get. So we'll see what happens.
But why can't it still be a good tournament and enjoyable to watch? I mean, does it really matter? Like anybody outside the top 10 could have ended up winning this thing, even if those 8 guys were still playing, right?
We want our big names in sports, right? Just like we want.
Yeah, but what if like Spieth and Ricky Fowler and I'm
You're right.
scrolling through the actual player list. Patrick Cantley get into a.
If they do,
Spieth is 3 back of Cantlay going into today. To me, the whole spirit of this thing has been kind of stripped away because this is a pro-am. There are no amateurs. This is usually where you get celebrities involved, and Bill Murray being ridiculous, and who else is?
He's not funny anymore, by the way. Love Bill Murray, but he's not funny anymore. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Wow,
it is not. It actually is not. That shtick has worn off.
Wow, that is a scalding hot take on a Friday morning.
Bill Murray's awesome. I love him. Great actor. Funny movies. Hilarious guy, but his golf, talking to the crowd. Well, I guess there's not a big crowd anyway, so I don't know what he's going to do. But his golf course shenanigans are not funny.
Just bringing it strong this morning. No, there are going to be no shenanigans because there are no amateurs not involved, no celebrities. It's not happening this weekend.
Good.
It's kind of like the whole spirit of the event has completely changed, and then you add all the notable guys not in the field, and that's part of the deal. And the timing of this thing on the first non-football weekend, I think, is just stinks for golf in general. But that whole world, like basically every other world out there, has been turned upside down by coronavirus adjustments, and the Masters being in the fall, and now turning around and being in 6 weeks away, maybe less than that at this point. Just kind of is what it is, unfortunately, for golf. But I'm with you. It is a bummer for sure.
It's a fun course. It's a fun course. It's a prestige, in my opinion. I'm not sure what it is.
Isn't looking at the course the fun part anyway?
It's a prestigious tournament, and I'll be honest, on a weekend, in my opinion, and I don't think everybody shares this one, where you could gain some momentum for golf after what happened last weekend, which was really fun. You lose kind of all of it when not everybody plays, and you ask, okay, what's the plan for the weekend? I have no idea because
there are 9 lacrosse games on Saturday. 9.
Is that a lot or not many?
I mean, it's awesome. It's
great.
Full slate.
I have no idea. That's a full slate.
There's 18 teams, Tim. They're all involved. There's
only like 70 teams in Division
One.
Well, it's enough. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough to take you from noon to 8 p.m.
Not me.
So that's what I'll be doing.
Take me from noon to 12:01 real quick. So that's where we are as we start this morning. No football, but a different type of year.
And it's just an awful, like, the weather this weekend is just awful. Like, this is a stay at home, watch football all weekend, and there is nothing. I mean,
17 next Saturday.
17 games? Yeah. There's 9 games.
17 lacrosse games.
Well, 3 have already been postponed.
Valentine's weekend, Tim. A lot of those lacrosse players are lovers, not fighters. They're taking the weekend off.
803-404-6100. Would love to hear from you this morning. Kind of a weekend to catch your breath. There is Gamecock men's basketball tomorrow. Ole Miss in the Colonial Life Arena. Last night, USC women tied at halftime with Missouri, but pulled away in the second half, and no big problem there. Extend their school record SEC win streak to 30 with a 77-62 win against Missouri. Destiny Henderson with 7 over 11 in the third quarter, where Carolina really extends the lead there. Zia Cook ends up with 15. Aaliyah Boston a double-double with 11 and 12, her 9th double-double of the season, 22nd of her career. And the Gamecocks do bounce back after that tough loss in overtime to UConn on Monday. So good news for Carolina from that standpoint for sure. Again, 77-62, that final score. Plenty to get to today, and today will be kind of odd, I think, just because we're outside of the football season. We're a week away from college baseball cranking up for the Gamecocks, and there's some position battles for sure for Carolina that Mark Kingston has updated everyone on a little bit early on this week, so we'll get into that. Besides that, who knows where this show is going to go. I love these shows where there's no clear content to lead the way. There's no clear subject out there that we just have to discuss. So you got the Daytona 500. We talked about that with our buddy, Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp yesterday. So Jen and Patrick will have their separate lacrosse and NASCAR agendas, and Bill and I will just bounce back and forth and be lost today. Does that sound about right, Bill?
That's probably right. You're right. I don't know what to do this weekend. I want to go to Charleston, but it's raining like crazy. I kind of want to go to town. It's not a good weekend, so I'll sit here with you, buddy. You and I will figure out, should we watch NASCAR or lacrosse? What's the big lacrosse match?
Well, this is the first game for a lot of teams.
Let's get this out of the way for him in the 6 o'clock hour.
The best matchups are going to be Hopkins, Ohio State, and Maryland, Michigan.
Oh, so college, huh? I thought you were talking about
basketball game. I heard Maryland, Michigan. Is that what I heard?
No, I don't know who Maryland plays this weekend in basketball.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't already. Who is playing Michigan?
Maryland. It'll be Maryland's first game.
Oh, I had no idea Michigan had a lacrosse team.
I didn't
know.
It's only 4 years old.
Okay, there we go.
So that's the big game. And hold
on,
Hopkins, Ohio State. Before you cut us off, Tim, let's get this lacrosse thing.
Hopkins, Ohio State is the big game.
What's the channel?
Probably ESPNU.
Really?
Probably. You don't even know.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of
lacrosse. What's a good lacrosse snack? What do we have while we watch lacrosse? Wings?
Yeah, I mean, same thing as any sport. The problem is a lot of them are going to be on ESPN Plus this year. A lot of college lacrosse is being moved to ESPN Plus.
So. That's it. I'm out of lacrosse.
Smart move to grow the sport, make people pay for it.
Smart move to make an ACC network.
All right, take us to There's we're 107.5 the game for lacrosse.
I can't watch Trevor Lawrence's pro day today because the ACC network is the worst thing ever, and I don't have it.
A lot of bitterness today.
Smart move to grow the conference. Restrict everyone from watching their content.
Patrick's going to be bitter all day. We're going to make fun of his lacrosse.
You know how bad I want to see Trevor Lawrence's pro day?
Oh, Monster-in-Law was on last night. Let's just completely.
That's right. That is a great thing.
Monster-in-Law.
We'll talk about that when we come back. Good call, Jen. Just press the button. Let's do the commercial. We're just treading water.
What a morning. We're off and rolling here. A Friday morning. You got a big weekend, President's Day weekend. How about that? We're going to take Monday off. That's right. We're going to take Monday off. Maybe one of the things on your off day is figuring out how to save money on your mortgage payment. Right now, you could save money on your existing mortgage payment. Interest rates are low. You just need to call Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005. You can also email it, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDR at firstpalmetto.com. He's the mortgage guru for a reason. To help save you money. If you're thinking about refinancing, and you should be thinking about refinancing, if you're thinking about buying a home, which is something maybe you're doing, you need to give him a call. See what you can spend, how much you can save. It's a great opportunity right now. No reason to delay it. 803-719-1005 or again, email the letter J, Crowder, CROWDR at firstpalmetto.com. He's the mortgage guru for a reason. Find out for yourself. You just need to start the process. You can phone call. You can shoot him a text message. Find out how much money he can save you, whether it's refinancing or buying a home. I'm telling you, the interest rate's fantastic right now, and Jacob Crowder is there for you. 803-719-1005. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank.
During Mazda's season
All right, what website is playing something?
I don't know, probably ESPN.
Yeah, you're right.
ESPN auto plays videos after like 2 minutes. It's incredibly annoying.
Drive me crazy.
What is the Monster-in-Law bit that I missed? Does Bill just love Monster-in-Law?
No, it's Jen. Jen's favorite movie is Monster-in-Law.
That's her favorite movie of all time.
That's what she said.
No, calm down. Bill is such a hype on.
Of every movie that's ever been made, Monster-in-Law is her favorite one.
What were you talking about, Bill? And Jen dropped in. She's like, that reminds me of the movie Monster-in-Law.
Okay.
So Bill's like, oh yeah.
I think we're talking about my dating life.
Oh boy.
Did you
Why is
tweet out
nobody-
the link? There's no comments. We don't have a Chris or a.
What? No, that's what I was gonna say. No one's wished us good morning yet.
So high maintenance. Unbelievable.
Not even a happy Friday.
I haven't heard you tell anybody good morning or happy Friday. I guess you did say
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
KT hitting us up with just some rain emoji.
Can't see. Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
Rain, cold, no football.
Oh, there we go. Now Kevin and Jerome are in on the live stream.
There we go.
Guys, I'm sensitive. We need good mornings. I don't if it.
You do. I just like to know that people are listening.
Where's everybody? Oh, I've got to go back to bed.
Why?
Stayed out too late last night.
Just a Patrick, Jim? I mean, all right.
Because I was the one complaining, I guess. There they all are. Good morning, everybody. Good to hear from you guys.
All right, now Jen's in the stream. We're good. They're taking shots at Monster-in-Law, Jen, just a second ago. Bill was.
Bill was. I didn't understand. I wasn't here, so I didn't get the reference. Bill just tagged me in a tweet about Monster-in-Law. I was very confused.
Yeah. It's a class. It is a cinematic classic.
What the heck?
Cinematic.
Yeah, your screen broke up. You didn't hear all that.
And Hakuna Matata, like what?
Huno.
What was the one? Oh, Amobia.
What's the what?
We what's it like? The little single-celled organisms or whatever it is. Bill.
How is amoeba?
Amobia.
Ammonia. That's what we need. We need a shirt that says Amobia on the front and Cinematic on the back.
Well, we need to resell the word of the day.
Yeah, right. No, the whole reference, Patrick, was basically when they were saying that Tom Brady had apologized to who was it?
That's right.
Honey Badger.
Yeah.
So he was
What we
supposed
need to sell is guess Bill's bar tab from last night. If you can guess my bar tab from last night, then you win a free 1075 the game T-shirt.
Arjun interrupting the story.
It's
Classic.
typical.
I ignore all stories.
In Monster-in-Law, basically, the bride slaps the mother-in-law and then apologizes, and the mother-in-law slaps her back and says, "Don't apologize when you slap somebody. You have some backbone." And that was kind of my point. Like Tom Brady, don't apologize if you bust somebody with backbone. You know.
Stand by it.
Yeah. So, but apparently that was a dumb reference. So.
It wasn't a dumb reference. It was just surprising, and maybe the first Monster-in-Law reference in the history of Sports Talk Radio.
I think.
I don't know.
History
Jennifer
is
Lopez
made.
did the halftime show. I bet you there are Monster-in-Law references to it when Jennifer Lopez did the halftime show last year.
Okay.
Could have been. All right, so the next break is the 40.
Perfect. Thank you.
That has to be everyone's favorite J-Lo movie, right?
We are embarking in uncharted waters.
No.
Shark-filled
I don't know
waters.
if I might have bought. I bought people. My bar tab was. I might have bought people food last night. It was ridiculously high. I need to see what happens.
You know we're back.
Clearly, we need your help this morning.
Yeah.
Trying to look forward to the weekend with no football. We could also use your help on February 24th. That's a week from this upcoming Wednesday. Blood Drive right there in downtown Columbia, 2751 Bull Street is the address. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. is when we'll have a blood drive there in honor of National Heart Month. Pre-registration preferred. Walk-ins are welcome. More information on our website, 1075thegame.com. Just explaining the monster-in-law reference was fun. Patrick off the air or on the live stream, since Patrick missed out on that. And well done, Jen. I had forgotten it was about Tom Brady texting the apology to the honey badger, and he said that's exactly what happened in monster-in-law when there's a slap. And oh, I'm so sorry, slap. Don't apologize. Have some backbone. What a week for Tom Brady, huh? Last few days, we've seen him get to championship ring number 7. Then do that texting deal with the honey badger during the game. We saw him at a trash-talking level we never seen before. And then the Tampa Bay parade is stuff of legends. That might be remembered more than the game. Don't you guys think? Was there a signature moment in the game?
Signature moment in the game.
I don't remember one. Do you
Not
guys?
just the fact that Gronk scored a pair of touchdowns. I mean, honestly, the signature moment that I'll remember will probably be just how good the Bucs defense play. Antoine Winfield throwing the peace sign at Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, maybe that one. The lasting image I have in my head is the parallel pass that was incomplete from Patrick Mahomes, chucking that thing, about a foot off the ground when he's falling. But I won't remember a signature moment from Tom Brady just because it was not dramatic down the stretch. I'm with you. The first 2 touchdowns to Gronk probably will stick out the most, but man, nothing will live on the internet more than Tom Brady stumbling off the boat. I think that video probably, I don't know, it made me for the first time see him as more of a human than any other time in his whole career, I think.
Well, when you hear about his regimen, as far as his
right.
diet regimen and stuff like that, it's like, oh, I don't think there was health food you were consuming that day.
No. Or just straight vodka, no, basically calorie free.
There you go.
But it's the healthiest he's ever been, though.
Is that what it was? Straight vodka or vodka? Do we know?
Avocado tequila, according to his Twitter. Social media.
He's so good at Twitter. It has to make people mad. He's just so good at social media. I don't understand it. But this is like a totally different. At the Patriots' last parade, I'm pretty sure it was the last parade where Belichick started the no days off chant. And now the Bucs' entire roster and coaching staff are getting hammered on boats in Tampa Bay. Like, it's a totally different vibe. They win the Super Bowl in New England. They're like, all right, Gronk, bash a couple beer cans on your head and let's get back in the facility tomorrow and get to work on next year. Like, that was the mindset. And now Tom Brady's actually celebrating and appreciating things for the first time. And he's having the most fun he could ever imagine.
Trying to think of other moments like that. You remember Mark Madsen, Bill, the Mad Dog, back in the day, doing some kind of weird, I think he was dancing at a Lakers celebration, Kobe and Shaq?
Isn't the one that's, I mean, it's either Ovi just yelling into the mic, or is it J.R. Smith just going shirtless for days, like just
Okay. Also, Carlton hits us up. His takeaway moment from the Super Bowl was on radio from Kevin Harlan. I think he's talking about the call of the streaker, I'm guessing, which was hilarious.
That's pretty good.
Just not a lasting image for me because I don't want that image in my head of the picture of the streaker wearing a.
Did you talk about the gambling thing that he supposedly did? That
I brought it up, but it seems so ridiculous. I don't think there's much need to talk about it. The social media post that the reason the streaker did it was because he put $1,000 bet on a streaker going to the Super Bowl. He ended up clearing $374,000 or something.
Yeah, did you see?
Bovada said that they weren't going to pay it out.
Yep.
So that does lead me to believe that he did actually make the bets, and apparently he used other people to make bets at different spots and different sites and whatnot, so that he could. Because normally they restrict the limits on props like that because they can be manipulated, just like that guy did. So maybe he did successfully put that much in, just spread across different casinos and sports books.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to be that guy, you're also the guy who's going to brag about it on social media immediately.
Yeah, I mean,
All
doesn't
you
even
gotta do
wait
is
for
keep
the
your mouth shut.
payment. That's so dumb.
Just keep your mouth shut. It's your money.
Nobody can keep their mouth shut though, right? Like we know that. That's the deal, right? Like you can't keep nobody can keep their mouth shut. That's
Well, and especially
the problem.
his face wasn't covered, so it wouldn't take long with social media for somebody to say, "Oh yeah, that's so and so," and it'd be out there anyway. So
Well, his shirt was advertising an adult website that his, I think it might be his wife, though, that famously streaked at a European soccer game with the same site being advertised.
the family streaks.
There's a lot of
together,
different motives. I
stays
mean, they got the bag for their buck with those. We can't
What do
call
you
it
think
streaky.
What do you think they're streaking this weekend? What's
What
the sporting event this weekend? What is the big? Is it the Michigan Maryland lacrosse game?
No, I was just say if some drunk Johns Hopkins medical student, doesn't run across the field in Johns Hopkins season opener, I'll be stunned.
Oh, that
And
field is
Hopewood
what
Field this weekend.
I hear there is a large coordinated effort with 9 separate streakers at all 9 lacrosse games tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's just
probably.
weird.
Actually,
Is that what Lacrosse Weekly is telling you?
Inside
Well,
lacrosse.
Inside Lacrosse.
it's part of the dark
No,
web.
no,
I'm part of
Tim's
connecting
signed
the
up-
dark
Tim's
lacrosse
signed up
web.
for the very special. You don't even get newsletter. Lacrosse Weekly.
ESPN plus plus plus. That's what we do there. This is
Yeah,
all part of.
That's how we knew that Denver scored a bunch of goals.
Oh, Denver did not score a bunch of goals. Denver got hosed by North Carolina on Saturday.
Yeah.
Chavo, good line from Chavo about the Catalina wine mixer. That's what it was for Tampa. And KT says he's wondering if Tom Brady will end up apologizing for being.
Do you think if they went back to back and COVID is over, by the next day COVID's over, and they can have a parade if they want to, they'll just do the boat parade again because it was a wild success?
Question. I would assume
They've already got that. They've already got Gasparilla with the boats and coming in off the bay and the
Or they'll
pirates.
just have the traditional.
Have you ever been to Gasparilla Festival? You should
No.
go. It's worth it. It's worth it. It sounds like a good time.
I have bad memories of Tampa Bay.
You have bad
you're
memory.
not gonna sell everybody on the pirate parade down in Tampa Bay that you think we should all go to.
I just did. It's fun. Have a good
Explain it.
time.
What is it? Does everybody dress as
I don't
pirates?
know. I was drinking before I got there. I don't know what it is. They're on a boat. They come in and they take over the city.
Who's they?
It's the pirates, man. I don't know.
So is it just a bunch of people that show up on boats dressed as pirates and then everyone's drinking? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's really it's really a reason to drink.
Maybe
It's
that.
when the pirates took over Tampa back in like the 1800s. It's some festival to commemorate that. I don't know.
So
And it's
I was
just-
there. I was there, and they've got Riverwalk. This is weird about Tampa. Tim, you went to the first Outback Bowl, right?
mhm.
You go to the first Outback Bowl?
The first one for the Gamecocks you're talking about, 2001.
2000. Well, it was the year 2000.
New Year's
It was-
Day, 2001.
Yeah, New Year's Day 2001. Ybor City was the place to go. I went down to Ybor City with them. It was awful. But they've grown it, and now you got basically the Riverwalk there on the bay. It's really cool. It's a neat little, a lot of great little places to go, bars, restaurants, and so the pirates and this pirate ship comes into Tampa for Gasparilla Festival or whatever, and it docks, and the pirates get off and they take over the city. But nobody's really caring about that because by then everybody's about 12 shots in and having a good time.
Go country, ladies and gentlemen. That the
Awesome.
new the Gasparilla. Do they call it a festival? Is that what it is? The Gasparilla Festival.
That's where it's usually early. I think it's actually it's May. It's May.
When I heard boat parade, I definitely thought the Bucks were going to roll up on 2 separate pirate ships, like one for the offense and one for the defense.
Well,
That's what happened in your head.
This year it's Saturday. If you want
Pretty
to
much.
Saturday, it's
Well-
Saturday, April 17th this year. I'm looking at it now.
It was by position, but I'm very interested in the social tiers or status that got people on certain boats because I believe Chris Godwin and Mike Evans used his personal boat and picked a couple receivers to go with him on that, and then Chris Godwin picked the guest list for his wide receiver and skill position boat, and I think Tom Brady just by default got the quarterbacks. But I'm sure there is a couple guys that felt like, oh man, I really wish I was on that boat, or GPP didn't invite me to his boat, or things like that. I'm always very intrigued by that.
I love that you have in your mind. It was like one of those Pirates of the Caribbean movies, right? Where they're on the pirate ships, the two different units combined. What about special teams guys? What about Suck Up? He gets a rowboat in the middle.
Yeah, like where was Suck Up? Was Kobe Smith get on the same boat? Was Kobe Smith like, oh man, I don't get to be on the boat with Vita Vea and the Dominican too?
They put him
practice
in
squad under the deck,
dragging him along
in the galley, cooking stuff.
You got a kayak.
So this is where we are in the first weekend without football here. But who hit us up on the text line? Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Billy says there is one college football game on this weekend.
There is. Tusculum and McNeese State. We talked about this. I forget.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it was? I forget.
There's approximately a 0% chance I will watch that game.
I don't see
It's
officially
on
where it's popped up.
You definitely won't watch it.
I did see yesterday the MEAC, I guess, officially canceling its spring season, so the SC State continuing to make adjustments in the spring. And this was the problem with the Big Ten conversation that represented everybody that was thinking about pushing their seasons to the spring, right? And I think maybe we saw it most affect us locally with high school football and the conversation in the state of South Carolina. Like, if you're going to move something back from the fall to the spring, well, you need to guarantee me that things are going to be different or better, or that there is a really solid body of evidence maybe that makes you make this decision kind of deal. I think it was where a lot of people were, and now we're seeing, unfortunately, for schools and programs like SC State, that decision is not working out how they wanted it to. It's gotta stink for those players, doesn't it? To have sat there all football season and watched other people play, basically all of college football play. And then I think the rallying cry would be, don't worry, we'll have ours in the spring. We'll have our time. And then to get here and say, yeah, by the way, we can't do it this spring. I can't imagine the feeling of that, the frustration from players, coaches, everybody involved.
I totally forgot just a couple weeks ago that there was going to be football in the spring. Are they going to just play again in the fall? Is that what their plan is?
Yeah.
Are they going to push their seasons back a little bit, or they're just going to basically keep it rolling? Give these guys a couple weeks off at the end and keep it rolling?
Well, I know South Carolina State only had 4 games scheduled. And now I think that even those 4 games are in jeopardy. Bill, do you know? I know you said you're going to auction off your fandom to the Citadel or Furman or somebody else in state there. Do you know how many games these teams have total set to play? I don't think it's
looks like 6 to 8. I've not spent the time.
I haven't seen 8. I was thinking 6 might be the max.
Yeah, I think it's. Let me pull back up. I mean, it's saved in my computer here. Furman, for example, has got starting next Saturday against Western Carolina. They got BMI, Samford, East Tennessee State, Chattanooga, and Mercer. So it looks like 6 games. It says Seymour.
Is there a way you can see
No,
all
Furman's
the
got 8. They got Citadel and Walker. Furman's got. So I'm telling you, 8. 8 is the norm for most teams all the way through April 17th.
How many total teams are playing, and where can I see what teams are playing?
Right.
We don't have an answer.
Specific. There should be springfootball.com, right? Somebody should get that going.
Yeah, that should definitely be a thing. I'm going to go right now, and it's just actually this is kind of interesting.
It's a totally
all
different
the
league.
states. It's all the states that are playing, and it says the status: Connecticut high school football status playing this fall. Illinois high school football status moving to spring. It's actually kind of almost exactly what I was looking for if I was looking for high school.
Gotcha. They just need to add a little college football tab for you, and you'll be satisfied at springfootball.com.
Springcollegefootball.com.
So trying to navigate now, I don't know how these programs will do it, because you play 8 games. And when is Furman's last game scheduled, Bill? Do you have it still in front of you there?
Against Wofford. Big rivalry game. It's going to be a fun game in the state. I might go tailgate for that one.
Okay, so that one is actually – that's the week before the Gamecocks have scheduled their spring game. So from a timing standpoint, I guess it's not that much different than a lot of programs do coming out of spring ball. It's just that you'll be playing a lot more. I assume unfortunately, the injury toll will probably be a lot higher if you're going to play 8 football games leading up to that thing, and then getting the off-season cranked back up again. The summer workouts, preseason practice will be interesting to see. I guess you could sell the theory that teams in 2021 that are playing spring seasons will be that much further along maybe come the fall if they don't have much of a pause and get to continue the program. I'm talking about from a rep standpoint, a rhythm and a offense scheme and all of that. I guess you can make that theory, couldn't you, Patrick?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you can. I'm with you on this, Tim. I think the teams that do that play in the spring, look, they're young kids. They're young kids. They should be able to bounce back and play. And you're right. Instead of a spring, you'll get your spring practice. Again, February 20th through April 17th. You're going to get your spring practice, but you're going to get games in. They're going to have, from at least in Furman's perspective, as I'm looking at their schedule, they're going to have. I don't know if there's an FCS playoff where you're just playing a season.
I'm pretty sure the NCAA canceled the original playoff, right? And pushed it back from the fall to the spring, but I'm not positive on that. Did we get in? We didn't get an FCS champ, did we?
I don't know. Somebody get on that and research it.
Did they? I mean, I guess it probably doesn't happen as much for FCS, but early enrollees, did that just not happen? Are they playing as?
No, they're playing. If you enrolled early,
Yeah,
if you enrolled early, you're in. Let's go. We're just getting up.
So I'm reading 16-team playoff bracket approved for the spring for FCS football.
I'm fired up for this.
So May 16th, it looks like the championship will be. Playoff pairings come out and build that day after. You were talking about the 17th being the last game scheduled for Furman. The next day, that's when the FCS playoff pairings come out. So theoretically, Furman makes the playoffs. They could have, 4 more games? Is that how that goes? I would think. So you could play, well, the national champion might play 12 games in a spring season that'll go all the way to mid-May and then turn around 2 months later and maybe 2.5 months later and start full preseason practice for 2022. That is
so much.
Wow. That's hard to understand. Newberry Chris hits us up, says the Newberry Wolves open up at home on March 6th. They still have a few more weeks before you see a home game up at Setzler Field. No early enrollees allowed to play in the spring season. Another anonymous texter hits us up, Bill.
This guy's got all the answers.
And there is an FCS playoff this year, so
Thank you.
Plugged in.
Honestly,
that actually might be the guy who's running springfootball.com right now. Maybe he's listening to us, going to help us out with some college info. But baseball season does start a week from today for the Gamecocks. Again, this seems to happen every year for me when we get bogged down in a bit of bad weather. Usually that lasts maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so. Our winter in Columbia, that it's hard to imagine baseball season getting going, but that's exactly what's going to happen. On 1 week from today, the Gamecocks will get things going, and I think that will certainly dominate a lot of our conversation or Gamecock fans' feelings, and a lot is being counted on by the baseball program. We talked about that a few times because of where the especially on the men's side of things, some frustrations are for Gamecock fans. We'll continue to discuss that as we roll on this morning, and we're treading in water with no football season. Football season, the 2021 version, or the 2020/2021 version, being in the books after the Super Bowl last weekend. That's just where we are. It happens every February, but it's never happened quite like this. You're listening to The Early Game. It's 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks and new head football coach Shane Beamer.
I'm a process-driven person. When you get started day one, it's this program.
Cowboys.
I know it's cliche, but it's the truth.
Welcome, coach.
I don't know how to say that.
Oh, it's President's Day weekend. Everybody loves President's Day weekend. I'm sure you got cookouts planned. I'm sure you've got some kind of big event. But what you need to be thinking about is a great night of sleep. That's the important part of President's Day weekend. Everybody knows that. That's the pinnacle. That's why you get fired up for President's Day weekend. And right now, if you can get a great night of sleep, you can do it with Sleep Number. That's what I do each and every night. Put the Sleep Number setting on 50. Get a fantastic night of sleep. And you can do that. You need to discover the Sleep Number 360 smart bed for proven quality sleep. I use it each and every night. Get a fantastic night of sleep. Wake up rested, refreshed, ready to deal with Tim, Jen, Patrick each and every day. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Let's all be honest for a second. If you watch the movie Monster-in-Law, you're pretty fired up. It's an energetic movie. After watching Monster-in-Law, it's hard to go to sleep. If you have a sleep number bed, it's no problem at all. It's like a nighttime nappy movie. That's what happens. So get a sleep number bed. You'll be able to deal with Monster-in-Law, but more importantly, you'll wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go each and every day. Right now, President's Day weekend special. Save 50% on a limited edition smart bed, special financing, and free premium delivery when you add a base, subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. This ends Monday. You don't want to miss the President's Day weekend sale. Only at a Sleep Number store. 2 to choose from. 1 in Irmo, Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia. 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Don't miss the President's Day sale. Discover the Sleep Number 360 smart bed for proven quality sleep. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
Instant cinematic classic.
That's right.
Ooh, at least we don't have an inch of ice like Steven.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Does that mean you're going back to sleep, Steven? 6:45, you text that in?
Man, that was the best.
Not ice. Not going to school?
Yeah, just waking up, looking outside. Had to turn on the news channel to see the scroll, and it would list every county on the bottom of the screen that was closed or not closed, or 2-hour delay. Yeah, that was the best.
I think that was the start of a lot of gambling careers, right? Night before.
Yeah.
High school, I remember that. We're not gonna have school tomorrow. No way. Staying up.
Yeah, that was senior year of high school was the first time that I was allowed, because I didn't go to school until 11 a.m. anyway, senior year, and that was the first time the parents let me have people over and do things before snow day. It was awesome. I love snow days. They're the best.
I'm with you. Yeah, my senior year, I got lucky. Had a bunch of snow days. Greensboro, North Carolina. It's fantastic.
Is Greensboro like high altitude? Is that why it snows so much?
It's 2.5 hours up from Columbia.
But it snows a lot?
No, it doesn't. It just happened to that year.
That year, it was okay.
Oh, Travis, I did see that video. Bro, I drive there in Fort Worth or somewhere.
Yeah, I just saw the picture.
Don't watch the video, man. You can't get that thing out of your head. Good call, Steven. If you're up, you're up. Thanks for joining us. If you're up, helping us out here, we'll take it for sure.
Yeah, you can't play with ice.
No. Well, unless you got
You can. I play with it all the time. I put it in my drink. I put it in my hair. It's kind of good. You know, it's all
I'm not
stuff you can do with it.
I'm not talking about
ice in your hair?
lifestyles of the Lush and
Yeah.
or the Lush.
Sometimes I put it in my hair. It makes me feel good.
It was coming in hot this morning. Coming in hot.
Didn't get my coffee for wellness last night.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
asleep
Bags
now.
didn't come in, huh? Disappointing.
No, they'll be here. Be here today.
I didn't know there were late night, like coffee drop offs or.
Right.
UPS, man. UPS.
Just looking at the college basketball slate for tomorrow. You got the Carolina game, Patrick. Both games this weekend.
Yep.
You got 5:30 airtime tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
11:45 on Sunday.
Yeah, perfect.
Make sure I get that right.
Yeah, that's right. The noon games are perfect because I'm already there. I love this. Then I get to cook again on Sunday.
Oh boy, good strategy.
Just for the heck of it?
No, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we got to get into how. Sounds like we need to get into Patrick's Valentine's Day menu.
Now we
not
get
God, that is this weekend.
exactly my thoughts, Jen.
No, I
Some of
think
it's a surprise though. So
Patrick's been good with the menus. We need to.
A surprise. We're to that point.
well, I mean, she knows I'm making food. I'm just gonna hopefully.
Which Starbucks are you at? The Starbucks is crazy.
Every Starbucks. Every Starbucks line is stupid.
Starbucks is ridiculous.
Got to do the pre-order on the app.
Yep.
I don't get a Starbucks though, so.
All right, head back in.
All right, Patrick's Valentine's menu. I want to hear this. You were at Lowe's. Wait, the one by Lowe's, the one by the high school, by Whitenow High School. Now I see your other one. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, guys are up.
I should have added this to the big tweet I sent out this morning with all the links for the live stream. I put rain, cold, no football. So help us out to look forward to the week. I should have added in Valentine's. Patrick was just telling us he's going to cook this Sunday again. I was like, oh, why? He mentioned Valentine's, and Jen had the exact same reaction I did, like, oh, that is this Sunday.
I wonder how many people are looking forward to Valentine's Day versus just dreading the fact that they have to do things they don't want to do.
Well, here's the thing: are you happy that Valentine's is on a Sunday where you have your full day to make it happen? Like you can do something on it earlier as opposed to rushing home. See, I feel like Valentine's. I'm not a fan of Valentine's, and I know this is. All the ladies out there are going to be like, "Oh, what a catch! This guy."
Wait a second. I thought you were voted most romantic on 175 the game.
You know what? You know what? If you're in a good relationship, Tim, you guys know this. You should know this, especially Jen. She's so good at Valentine's. Every day is Valentine's if you're in a good relationship. It doesn't need.
I really feel like the last few months have shown that I'm definitely the most romantic at 175.
You are.
Wow.
I have so much I have to teach you. We're working on.
Okay,
So
I want to start that book.
Hey,
Big
look,
day for the
I
single
am-
man. Wait a second. Bill, we're not going to make this about you. We've heard your Valentine's Day shenanigans through the years. What we have not heard.
Wall Street.
I know, and I just made an account to start trading stonks, and I forgot, and I didn't get in on the Bumble
You
IPO.
didn't get in on the Bumble yesterday?
No.
I get $75 this morning is what I just saw.
Is stonks something different than stocks?
Nah, same thing. It's just what the kids are calling them.
Millennial, man.
Oh, jeez.
It's just funnier. It's just funnier to say stonks.
These Reddit users, it's incredible. It's incredible. Ooh, Disney's up to 194 this morning. No, what's on the Valentine's menu?
It's not completely set yet, but definitely going to be a lot of seafood, some scallops, mussels, maybe some pasta, some sort of pasta.
You guys should see Jen's face on the live stream.
Jen, what do you got? Weekend
Muscles.
gardening with the.
Ugh.
Is that what you do? Is it like, hey, honey, want to get out and prune the hedges? Want to get out and mow the lawn?
No, if I want that done, I'll just do it myself.
Well done.
45.
KT,
Valentine's Sunday's a good thing.
the timing of this thing, it's going to annoy me whatever day it is. Taking the wife out tonight, KT says. Took the kids out last weekend. We always do it a week early. Good for you, sir. Steven, be careful ordering Valentine gifts online, he warns. I ordered jewelry for my wife, and they sent fishing gear.
Yeah, was it really an accident?
Don't get Valentine's gifts either. It's not necessary.
Agreed.
Wait a second. You're giving the Valentine's Day advice, sir?
Chocolates and flowers. That's all girls care
Don't even
about.
have to do that.
How many times have you gone through Valentine's Day with a significant other?
Once.
Clear.
It's just not. It's not a gift giving holiday.
No, I agree. It's not. You can't.
I don't like it that it's a day that you have to do something. I'd rather,
I know.
on April 7th, you do something just because, not because the cultural norm dictates that that's what you have to do.
Agreed.
So I'm trying to think of a poll question. Worst part of the weekend? No football, weather, Valentine's Day.
One more thing. Let's see. What else is
Hey,
timely?
weather, no football, Valentine's Day. Having to watch Gamecock basketball.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. That's actually a great one.
Shots fired. I don't think we're going to go with that one.
Sorry. Add golf. Yeah, add golf tournament. I'm so disappointed with Pebble Beach.
I'm just excited. I'm just upset about the whole forecast because it's gonna be cruddy here.
Oh.
Everything outside.
Weather definitely on there.
It's gonna mess with Daytona probably. It's like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Daytona. The great sports weekend.
I sense there was sarcasm in that comment.
That's a good poll, those four choices, because a lot of those options could go either way and could be positive or negative. So no football, I'm very upset about. Girlfriend's very happy about. Gamecock basketball, people could be very excited to watch it. Some people could be really bummed about having to watch it, and Valentine's Day could go either way as well.
I'm not putting Gamecock basketball in there.
Why?
That would not be a good partner, sir.
It's not always rainbows and butterflies in this world.
No doubt. But you don't have to harp on the darkness.
Well, if it comes in last place, then clearly people wouldn't care.
All right, your weather report. It's not nice outside.
Okay.
Thank you, Chip. None taken there. None taken. Same guys. I would take much more offense if you were completely bored off the air and you're like, hey, you guys are pretty good on the air. Not telling a company line, just not rubbing it in there, Chavo. Not going out of my way to rub it in. And that's the company line, and that's the company line.
I don't know if I love or hate Todd.
Is this the same Todd on the text line you're talking about?
Well, yeah, he was mad that I said I wasn't going to watch college football, but then he says Valentine's Day special dinner for two at Texas Roadhouse, $39.95.
You're kind of guy right there, huh?
I think you got to cook. I'm with now, Patrick. I think you're
cooking.
for different reasons, but I'm with you cook at home for Valentine's.
Yeah, I am cooking him. We're not going. We're not
Is
spending.
it a magical? Is there a candlelit table there?
No.
All right. I'm gonna go. I'll just go college basketball. How about that? That's fair.
Barely under, Craig. Barely under. I just realized that.
Bill, you ever made a charcuterie board? I feel like you'd be the person to ask here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
What do you put on it?
Unbelievable.
I'm gonna go to
meat.
the grocery store today and buy some meat.
Yeah. But put meat, cheese.
That's obviously what kind of meat? What kind of cheese?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, don't go by like American. What? Don't go by American singles or whatever. Go.
I'm not gonna buy Kraft singles. There's a million different types of cheese. You buy like Brie or Gouda. Like, what do you like?
I'll tell you. Hold on. Let me see what I got. I bought some last week.
Maybe the dumbest conversation we ever had. That was awesome, Patrick. Of course. Jeez.
Smoked salmon. No.
What it is?
Jen, are you no seafood at all?
No, I like seafood, but like, isn't smoked salmon usually cold?
Yep.
Yeah,
Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
that's what I would get my year in New York. I would get lox, cream cheese, and smoked salmon on everything bagel. It's unbelievable. It's so good.
Went to a restaurant years ago. Nice place for some guy, or taking us out and like, oh yeah, get the smoked salmon. Well, I love salmon, so I was like, oh okay, yeah, tried to buy it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. So literally, I didn't want to like make it really bad and let him see. It was kind of dark in the restaurant, and I didn't want to see that I really wasn't eating it. So literally, in my cloth napkin,
Wrapped it up.
hit the floor. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Ooh.
Kind of bad.
definitely getting prosciutto because I love.
Yeah,
prosciutto.
you got to do that. I went to Publix last week and they had like little packets of different meats. It was
Yeah,
about,
but
I don't remember what it was. We'll see. I got. So you were asking. I've got smoked Gouda, and I've got Asiago, all natural, aged over 6 months.
Asiago is good.
Yeah.
I just go to the deli and have them slice a pound of prosciutto.
Huh?
Cheaper. I go to the deli and have them just slice a pound of prosciutto, and I'll just every time I walk by the fridge, grab another piece off.
I think the important part there, and you got to go look for good crackers. Don't put a bunch of Ritz crackers out there. You got to go find some good.
Like some
You
water
put some-
crackers.
Put cashews and some almonds and some different.
Olives.
Honestly, though, the Ritz crackers are better than the fancy crackers.
I've never done olives, Jen. I go like we'll put preservatives or whatever.
I'm not making like a huge thing though. I'm just putting it on a plate, so I'm just gonna get like probably 2 meats and 2 cheeses.
Go buy a cutting board. That's all I ever use. Go buy a cutting board.
I have a cutting board.
Coming back in.
You have a cutting board?
Yeah.
Use the cutting board. Just put it on the cutting board.
All right, ladies.
A chef like me wouldn't have a cutting board.
You're up.
It's true.
In 2021, I don't think a man card is really a thing anymore, is it?
Not on this show.
Well, if it was, eating meat would not be cause to remove one.
David was listening to our off-air live video stream conversation on YouTube. He said this conversation is man cards removable. I'm just sitting silent while you guys discussed. Patrick brought up charcuterie board, and then these three have just continued that conversation for minutes off my life.
What does the world come to that eating meat and cheese is man card removable now?
I'm confused by Tim, your macho attitude right now about a charcuterie. Is it charcuterie or
David is the one who said this conversation is man cards removable. I just checked out completely.
There's nothing more manly than salami. Put it on a shirt.
Hey, we're in the 7 p.m. hour of the early game. If you're tuning in,
Yeah, put that with the cinematactic, whatever.
Cinematic this morning. Cinematic class.
off air. What gets said off air stays off air.
No, not anymore, buddy.
That was said on there, wasn't it?
That was off air.
Oh, no.
I was wandering away from the. No, that's what do you? Yeah, what's the? I feel like we can be a helpful show for people. What's the Valentine's? Because Sunday's different. I don't when Valentine's falls on a weekend, it's different. Like, and this is what I was saying earlier. Valentine's Valentine's is not a national holiday. And by the way, a lot of you probably get President's Day off. We're taking President's Day off here because we're going to take President's Day off because we're all going to celebrate
Because
Valentine's.
people are tired of hearing you talk about charcuterie boards.
I forget, were you pro or against
What's that?
the charcuterie board?
Oh, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're making fun of me, yet you love a good charcuterie board.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well,
Excellent.
who doesn't love to eat that? That's not the point, Bill. Don't
You make
that the
it, Jen?
conversation.
Well,
Do you wait a minute, because Jen's making fun of me here, or trying to make fun of me, but she's basically like saying that and then being like, I do that. I'm making fun of you, but I do the same as you.
I don't think I obsess the way you do and all the little details, and I picture you.
So basically, you just put out cheese and meat,
No, I mean I put
and
together
it's crackers.
a nice
What you're saying
combination.
is you just
But I see you probably
get out of here,
proofing it up, like,
get out of here. Yeah.
well, that is the thing because a lot of people. I have friends that make charcuterie boards for social media, and they take an hour to put them together and make sure all the meat's
Sprigs
nicely
of-
folded and
of
organized on the tray.
rosemary,
Yeah,
garnish, and- yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm getting 2 meats, 2 cheeses, put it on a plate. Bill said cutting board. I'll put it on a cutting board. Boom.
See,
Put
I
it
see
on a cutting
Bill
board,
being about the
cutting board's easy.
presentation. That's why I'm making fun.
I thought it was all right. Is it charcuterie or
Charcuterie. It's not charcuterie because
am I saying
One more
it
time,
incorrectly?
Bill.
I'm being made fun
What's
of
the
it.
question?
I thought it was charcuterie.
it is. But nobody said charcuterie except for you.
Did I say it or
No.
did I just say it now?
You said it right, and then you said, "Is that right, or is it charcuterie?" But no one
Being made
insinuated
fun of the
that.
live stream. The live stream is I've got somebody weighing in. Like,
You said it a multitude of ways this morning.
You had it right though, charcuterie.
okay.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought his question is if it's a cha or a sha to start. That's what I heard.
Oh, I think it doesn't matter.
Bean cheese
I
play.
think you were a lot closer than most of us expected, Bill, especially with your cinematic and your. I didn't even remember how you pronounced amoeba the other day, but Patrick remembered it was amobia earlier on in the
Well,
live stream.
that's a college defense. I mean, Mobia is the college defense you play. I don't know what you guys are trying to
Very
as sports aficionados, I would think you guys would understand that, but I clearly that was wrong.
Perry,
That
great
was-
take on the live stream. Meat and cheese tray mainly using the word charcuterie, not so much. That's my whole point here.
So
Just the fact
Listen.
that Patrick brought it up, how he brought it up. The charcuterie board.
It's French.
I know you're
Tuesday's
very
Mardi Gras.
cultured.
Tuesday's Mardi Gras. It's not manly to say Mardi Gras.
we taking
We
Tuesday
say
off.
Tuesday.
We should be taking Tuesday.
Very,
off.
very cultured, sir. I think this is all a product. This entire conversation is all a product of today's set of thought of automotive poll question. What's the worst part of this weekend? Most negative poll question we've ever had on the show. But that's where we're at. It's the first weekend outside of football season. So we got no football, bad weather, Valentine's Day, or college basketball all combined. And I put college basketball in there because the stat from earlier this week was the 13 winningest programs of all time. None of them ranked in the top 25. And certainly from the Gamecock perspective, it is a confluence of multiple things. First of all, Ole Miss has been difficult for the Gamecocks to beat, typically at Ole Miss. We've seen Carolina have relative success, I guess, with Ole Miss in Columbia, and that's where tomorrow night's game is, 6 o'clock tip, 5:30 airtime here on 107.5 The Game. But Carolina's sitting at 3-6 in conference play, 5-8 overall right now. It's been a wildly disappointing season that was summed up by the last few seconds. The last time we saw Carolina on the floor when they're down 3 to the SEC leader in Alabama, and Alabama doesn't put anybody inside the 3-point arc. Gamecocks shoot a 2 and never even get a shot off to try to tie the game in the final seconds, much to the chagrin of Frank Martin and everybody kind of supporting Gamecock basketball, I think, at this point. So that's why I throw college basketball on there in the mix for sure. Bill, you mentioned the AT&T on the PGA Tour is a bit of a bummer this weekend as well. This thing is the celebrity pro-am typically. There are no AMs this week, and there are no celebrities. They're both kind of hand in hand. And also, 8 out of the top 10 in the world have decided not to play, including Irmo native Dustin Johnson, who typically dominates at Pebble Beach, including the other guy who won last week, Brooks Koepka. So DJ won in Saudi Arabia, Koepka won there in Scottsdale, and neither one now going on the PGO Tour. So we add all this stuff together, and I feel like we're getting the conversation we're getting for those of you shaking your head and saying, well, where's the sports talk this morning? You guys got to stick to sports.
I tried to talk lacrosse and I got shot down. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Get back to your
There's a sport.
ladder, buddy. Bring your lacrosse talk in here. Showed to your Twitter page last week, expecting pictures, and I'm getting Denver allowed a bunch of goals. But they were number 5.
Get the pictures though. Denver, yeah, they were. They won't be in the new poll.
So we've got some advice from our FCS football expert on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line with a Char. He says it's with the SH and not the CH. Monty says, can we just call it a meat and cheese tray, please? It's just much better. I agree with that. And then Kelly says, I'm not sure why you're limiting your charcuterie board to 2 meats and cheeses.
Money.
Very simple. That's the
only reason.
I need to know your level of anxiety with Valentine's Day coming up. This is the first one you will be celebrating with your significant other here, correct?
Yeah, zero anxiety.
Yeah, but you better plan. You're good at this. You're good at. I've taught you well. I feel good about what do we call what do we call you? Big carrot? You're a big carrot. You big carrot. What do we call Perry?
Oh, that was a question. I don't know, but
Grand carrot. You're like to say Perry and I taught you
carrot.
well. Papa carrot. Papa Carrot and I, you are a. I feel good about you today. Papa Carrot should feel good about you. Papa Carrot and I are very proud of what we've developed in you.
I don't know what he taught me. I can't really remember what they used to do for Valentine's Day. I don't really remember the babysitter coming over so they could go out to dinner on Valentine's Day. I feel like that wasn't their thing.
He sacrificed for you, is what you're saying. He sacrificed. That's
well,
father.
I don't think my mom would have been the type that would be expecting much on Valentine's Day. She definitely does not care.
Chin, what about you? Your expectations on
easy.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I'm the same.
My mom's the same way, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think, again, it's a forced holiday. You know, I'd much rather somebody think of you in a nice way at an unexpected time. You know, just like April Fool's Day. You think I'm going to pull a prank on April Fool's Day? No. I care enough to do it when it's really going to throw you off.
There you go. That's why I have zero anxiety. My girlfriend's low maintenance. If she was high maintenance, we probably would not be dating. That wouldn't have happened. So she's not expecting of going to a fancy dinner or any of that. She knows that I don't have money.
She's not expecting you to like raid the counters at the convenience store on your way, back to the apartment. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Panther Chris, Cool Care Heating and Air text line. He says Chick-fil-A nugget tray for the win.
Sweet.
Everybody's got something different. I think that's the thing with Valentine's Day. I think you've got to make it your own. I don't think you go out and do I don't think you go out and, unless it's like something that you've always done or it's a tradition, you got to make it your own. Grill something, especially that's the thing on a Sunday. The options are limitless. They are limitless. You can make it a whole day. I've got soccer. Austin's got soccer at 1:30 on Valentine's Day. Even if it rains, it's probably going to be in the rain. It's going to be a good time.
Valentine's Day brunch sounds like a solid plan too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that plan. That's a good plan.
That would be a good one.
This is so disappointing. Valentine's Day. Bill reminds me of Andy Bernard, Justin says. It took me a second to get the reference. What do you think, Patrick? You're an Office fan, right?
Yeah, I don't know what he did to remind him of Andy Bernard, but
I like the reference. I don't quite get it in this scenario.
Just compare me to anybody. Just, I don't know, throw a name out there. Compare him to that guy. He looks like John Candy and Planes, Trains.
Well, you don't look like Andy Bernard. I think it might be the I've taught you everything, false sense of false bravado, that type of deal.
But Papa Carrot, man. I should text that guy later today. Papa Carrot, tell him me and him done a good job. Our
Papa
life's
carrot
work
sounds like
complete.
whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
That term is just so.
I was thinking of Smurfs. The kids had me watching the Smurf movie the other day.
Oh, I haven't seen the Spurs movie.
Gargamel.
Trey's got a solid piece of advice or a solid move. I make my wife hand dip chocolate strawberries, right? You can get away with that if you do it yourself, I think, as opposed to the purchasing of that. Even if you purchase them, I think you can get away with it on Valentine's Day specifically. Bill, a little too cliche for you. Is that what you're saying?
Hand dip chocolate strawberries. That's a good. I like that. That's unique. That's creative. He's not going to the store and buying them. I think it's a good strategy.
I think we might try to make a cheesecake.
Whoa, that's ambitious.
I didn't even know it was possible. I thought they used to
know it was possible to make a cheesecake.
No, I just thought they appeared in dessert shops.
Wow.
Do you think the stork brings them on Magic Day? What do you think happens? How do you think cheesecakes arrive?
I don't know. I told my girlfriend, I was like, I want to get a cheesecake. And she's like, we can make a cheesecake. I was like, what? What a wild suggestion. Who dares try to make their own cheesecake? It seems crazy to me.
It'll take some time.
Yeah, I bet.
Patience, yeah.
At _Patrick Perrette, where you can help him out with his Valentine's Day. It is much different than the rest of us old people doing Valentine's Day, I think, on Sunday. 803-404-6100. If you would like to join the show, you can call or text. Gamecock baseball predicted to finish 4th in the SEC East yesterday. The preseason poll coming out. Also, just one Carolina player making the preseason all-SEC team. It's Wes Clark, who I think is kind of a man in an interesting spot. It looks like, I'm guessing DH is where he's going to end up mostly, but working a lot at catcher, has been kind of moved over from first base. It looks like somebody else has taken that spot, according to head coach Mark Kingston. We'll continue to talk about that as we roll on. And if you're going to complain or not be pleased with being picked 4th in the SEC East, I get that from a preseason perspective, but understand, you guys see who's predicted to finish 4th in the SEC West? You want to take a guess?
LSU.
Correct. Certainly another college baseball powerhouse, and the names in front of them.
Well, but let me ask you this, and I don't know this. When you bring that up and the way you say it, how many? What is if the top 3 teams in the East? Vanderbilt, Florida, Tennessee. Tennessee is 17. I think I'm going by D1 baseball. South Carolina's 18th nationally. So Tennessee is 1 spot ahead of them, I believe, 17. If I'm thinking correctly, I could be wrong.
They might be flipped, by the way.
Okay. You just say that like 4th in the East. Yeah, when you say it like that, everybody's like, oh, it should be there. That's not what we're accustomed to being to. 4th in the East is also top 20 nationally.
It's the college baseball rankings, national rankings are basically the college football recruiting rankings. It's the exact same thing, right? Yeah. You can be 10th in the SEC, top 20, easily. That's what this is.
The SEC is 5th nationally almost every year.
Right. It's crazy. But this year looks like it will be more of the same from an SEC perspective. Yeah, Florida, Vandy, and Tennessee in that order, 1, 2, and 3. Florida with the most votes to win the SEC overall. Ole Miss with the second most votes, and they're predicted to win the West. Mississippi State, Arkansas, LSU right behind them. Then it's Texas A&M, Auburn, and Alabama. Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky at the bottom of the SEC East preseason predictions. Preseason predictions kind of are what they are. I wouldn't get too worried about them. I want to go back and see. I don't even know if I've tried to look these things up before. It tells you how notable, newsworthy, how meaningful preseason predictions are. A lot of times I can't even go back when I do an internet search and find previous years' preseason predictions. Like I'm wondering where the 2010 bunch of the Gamecocks was predicted in the 2010 preseason SEC coaches poll, which is what came out yesterday, and where Carolina is at 4th. I'll try to do that, give you some historical perspective as we roll on and try to decide what's the worst part of the weekend. Bad weather is dominating this thing. I'm surprised over no football, and Valentine's Day just in 3rd place, barely over college basketball right now at Tim Hill 1075, where you can go and vote on today's Sutter Automotive poll question. It'll go official in about an hour and a half or so as we will conclude the show. You're listening to the early game here. It's 1075 for you.
This is Gamecock basketball head coach Frank Martin, and you're listening to
South Carolina unranked in preseason poll 2010.
Preseason national poll.
Yep. Then 23 after week 1.
Well done. If you can get an SEC coaches preseason poll in 2010, I'll be very impressed.
Let's see.
Is that Bert? I think. I don't know how to. What do you mean? What are we playing?
It's the same. There might be a fake account because didn't somebody come over and say, "What are you guys playing? Is this the news?" the other day?
Yeah, it was so odd. Oh, let's see. We got some more. The only thing about, let's see, it's not a treat for the person in the relationship that has to cook. Yeah, some people like to do that.
You said early game TF. What is TF?
Number 2 in the East.
Number 2 in 2010. Wow, well done, sir. Behind Florida, I assume, or behind Vandy?
Behind Florida. Only 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 SEC teams were ranked in preseason in 2010.
Wow, that is mind-boggling. Oh, did you see Smitty hooking you up with some advice there? Do it the night before the cheesecake?
Yeah, but that's not going to be possible because I will not be making the cake.
By yourself, right? You need some guidance.
Yeah, I will make the dinner. She will bake the cake. That was awesome. When we were talking about it, she said then you bake it. Like explaining, she's like, then you bake it. I was like, wait, you bake a cheesecake? I genuinely thought it was just prepared cold and like molded or something.
I hear you.
Didn't realize it was baked at all. Is today the Chinese New Year? Year of the ox.
T hit us up on Twitter. You see that? Charcuterie, because a whole generation raised on Lunchables is trying to be cool now.
They do have fancy Lunchables right on the top shelf of the Lunchable section, the grocery store. It's pretty solid with like Lunchables with prosciutto.
Let's see what kind of. Yeah. Rooster P threw me off being in the state of South Carolina this morning. Easily. Wow. The upstate, heads up. Yeah, no kidding, Jam. The year they won the national championship, South Carolina was strong in the SEC. 21-9, no doubt. But not predicted to win the division that year.
I think our favorite texter is just wearing out.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen.
I'm going back through some of his texts this week. It's just he's just getting more aggressive. Like Heat's not responding to him.
Oh yeah, I see. Let's see how many Heath texts just in the 6 o'clock hour yesterday.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just in the 6 o'clock hour last night. Oh man, started at 5:40 with 1, 2, 3 more, so 10 basically within that last hour.
Heath did respond on Monday to a text where the guy called him Frank Sharton. I actually like Frank Sharton more than Will Muskrat. That's actually much funnier.
Tommy sounded much better today.
Swelling went down.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Did he figure out what he ate?
I don't know. Good question. I'm with you, Jan. I promote the College World Series every chance I get. I'm hoping you went to Rosenblatt. And the new one.
If we're back to 100% capacity by the time College World Series rolls around, I would definitely go to Omaha.
Got to. I'll make you go.
And back in.
Attaboy, Jan.
So the next break is 40.
Thank you.
Guys are up.
Went into break talking about preseason expectations for Gamecock baseball, picked 4th in the SEC East this year, but ranked as high as, 17th nationally, I think, and this is just what SEC baseball has been for a long time. And I mentioned wondering what the preseason rankings were. Not nationally, it's relatively easy to look up, and Patrick, you found that real quick, the 2010, going into that, what would become the national championship season for the Gamecocks, that Carolina was unranked in a top 25 poll, and one of our listeners looked it up in collegiate baseball, I think, where they do the top 40 rankings, and Carolina came in 28th that year. That sound right to you?
Yeah, 28th is right. They actually never reached the highest ranking, I believe, before obviously finishing the season. Number 1 was like not that high. I don't understand. They never reached number 1. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9th nationally was the highest they ranked before the College World Series.
And you were able to find the 2010 preseason SEC poll, and you found that the Gamecocks were predicted to finish behind Florida there in the East at 2nd. Is that correct?
Yes, they got 2 first-place votes, but Florida got 9.
So clearly the overwhelming favorite, and that was the year that Carolina went on to play UCLA and beat Trevor Bauer and that star-studded pitching staff lineup in just 2 straight there out in Omaha. Whit Merrifield with a walk-off hit to bring home the first national championship. And UCLA, kind of ironically as well, our texter hit us up on that collegiate baseball poll. It was 20th in the preseason poll. So preseason polls kind of are what they are, especially in baseball, man, where you have even now 11 years later, I think there's more parity. And then as I say that, I think what Florida and Vanderbilt have done specifically in the SEC maybe have separated themselves a little bit, with the Gamecocks kind of falling back in the pack the last few years. But I just mentioned the preseason polls and past rankings to try to keep things in perspective moving forward. I think everything's on the table for the Gamecocks this year. Bill, do you feel that as well going into the baseball season with a talented recruiting class coming in? You always in baseball can get instant impacts from either true freshmen or transfers, and Carolina has both. And what they had coming back, a solid group of talent, I feel like it's everything's kind of on the board. What Mark Kingston did in year number 1 game away from the College World Series, and what happened in year number 2, ended up finishing 500. Do you have that feel as well?
I don't know what I feel for this baseball team. I don't know. I don't. Let's be honest. I don't think a lot of us pay attention to the rest of the SEC when it comes to baseball as much as we do, like, say, football. I couldn't tell you what all Florida has coming back and what exactly Florida is. Vanderbilt the same way.
And real good.
Well, that's what I said. Like, yeah, okay, but how are they in relation to South Carolina? Like, I don't know. South Carolina's had good recruiting classes. I see him turning out first-round picks. I don't know. This South Carolina team may be really good. Like, I hear a lot of positive things. I'm used to South Carolina being – say what you want about them the last 5 years. I'm used to South Carolina being a national powerhouse. I think the name still has cachet across the college baseball world, and so I think they recruit really well. Now you're keeping a class that you might have lost. With all that being said, I don't know what everybody else has. And you're going to play Texas? I don't know. I feel like we were all down on South Carolina baseball last year, and it was kind of a surprise to me because of everything that happened right then, like college basketball conference tournaments being canceled, NCAA tournament being canceled, what was happening with golf, what was happening with the NBA. It felt like college baseball was secondary or third or fourth. I didn't realize they were 12-4 until like 2 weeks ago. We were talking about it, and I was like, I think everybody was mad at Carolina. I don't think they started well. And we literally was like, oh, they were 12-4. They lost the series to Northwestern and lost the series to Clemson.
Right, but that is the preseason schedule of years past, where Clemson is basically the only test that you get in a 3-game series on the same program at the same level. And you lose a program to a Big Ten team coming down to Columbia, where they haven't hardly been able to work out in the whole thing. That's where your disappointment comes from. But they had gotten on a bit of a roll. But Carolina is supposed to win midweek games in these non-conference series beforehand. Now, this year, when you add Texas to the mix, Bill, I'm with you, especially going on the road to Texas right before you start SEC play, how the performances go, how competitive you are, and then how the record matches up to that will be more interesting this year than in years past because you add that Texas series into the mix. And we all know the overreaction that can happen around in baseball season. And that's why I bring up that 2010 season. I think it's the greatest example, right? Not a ton expected of Carolina going in, especially compared to other teams. The narrative all year long was, yeah, this might not be the most talented team, but they're gritty and they're gutty. They're going to battle and find a way, and then they end up winning the national championship. And clearly turn out to be really, really talented with all the big leaguers on that roster, and that would take them back to the national championship series the next 2 years as well, winning another one. So that's why I say I think everything's on the table, because I've seen it from the Carolina perspective here the last couple of decades. You throw in the 2000 team that goes 50-6 in the regular season and the number 1 overall seed going in, and then didn't even make it to Omaha. So college baseball, I think, even more unpredictable than a lot of other sports as we sit here a week before it starts, and everything involved this year with the COVID implications as well. I think that's going to be wildly interesting to watch, because you got to get so finely tuned, I feel like, for baseball that has to be thrown off to some degree right now.
Well, we have such a perception of South Carolina baseball, right? We have such a perception of Carolina baseball that, like, they're what did we say? They're 17th or 18th in the D1 rankings. We're like, oh, it might not be a good year. They're a top 20 according to, and that's why you ask. I'm like, I don't know. They're a top 20 team, and yet we're looking at them like, I don't know, these bunch of scrubs. It's like the two guys sitting in the outfield in Major League Baseball, in the movie Major League Baseball, Major League. I'm sorry, yeah, just Major League. But they're sitting there like, who are these bunch of guys? And to an extent, I kind of feel that way because we didn't get to meet or really watch the guys last year. We didn't get to know them, and so I'm listening to your interview with Skylar Mead Wednesday, and I'm going, I don't know some of these guys. Dylan Harley's entering the transfer portal. Saw that. I think it was yesterday, or maybe Wednesday afternoon. But I just like it's a weird scenario, I think, because you look at this team, and they're a top 20 team according to the polls. And I'm looking at them going, I don't know how good they are. They're 4th in the East. Well, the other 3 teams, top 17 teams.
Aren't there like 10 to 12 teams in the SEC alone that are saying it's going to be a disappointment if they don't end the season in Omaha?
Yeah.
How do you possibly evaluate on a day-to-day basis during baseball season when that's what you're going up against? It's truly insane.
Well, but you have the eye test, right? When you compete with good programs and they just beat you, you don't beat yourself, you can live with it. Especially in the SEC, knowing what Florida, Vandy, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, go down the list, LSU. But when you make critical mistakes, for instance, the classic Chad Holbrook series with Seth Beer hitting the home run, right, after being down to the last strike, could have walked him the whole thing. That's a prime example, maybe the prime example for Gamecock baseball here in the last several years. Or when you walk a bunch of guys and you let the other team take advantage. I think that's when it goes from understandable to unacceptable, if that makes sense. I feel like we're having a conversation that is very applicable to football. I mean, SEC football and SEC baseball from a depth and highly competitive standpoint are very similar. Maybe Alabama has separated themselves from SEC football more than Vandy or Florida has in baseball, but I think you can probably put those two programs in a similar type tier from a baseball standpoint than you can to Alabama football. But I don't think we look at it quite the same because of just the nature of the games. You only get 12 regular season games typically in a football season. You get 56 in baseball, and things have a more of a chance to kind of even out for the better teams. And if you put yourself in position in the postseason, in baseball, you can make that run, and you have more of a chance to do that. In football, you lose the game. A couple of calls go against you against Florida a couple of years ago. You lose that game, you lost your chance. And then the season goes down the tubes real quickly, and then the program goes down the tubes real quickly is what happened to the Gamecocks. In baseball, I think you just have more of a chance to stay steady and more opportunities to get back and work yourself into that national conversation as opposed to football. You guys disagreeing with me here?
No, you're right. I'll get on board with that. You're doing a good job. Keep going. Keep going.
You're good at this.
I was looking at our poll question. I was looking at your poll question. I was like, I wonder if guys are terrified to vote Valentine's Day because they think somehow their wife or significant other will see that they voted. Like, you know how on Twitter it says if you like a tweet and like it pops up, you're like, oh, I don't know that person. It says either you liked it. I wonder if guys are scared to vote on Valentine's Day because of what if she sees that I voted Valentine's.
Show me your phone. I bet you voted on this poll. I know you followed him. Tell me what you voted.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a big conspiracy theory out there right now. Crazy.
If you're at that point in your relationship where you're worried about a Twitter poll vote,
hey man, there's a lot of people out there that I guarantee are right now like, I'm gonna vote, but I'm gonna vote with my partner phone.
I voted no football for anyone that might be interested.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Patrick.
That might be listening right now and would be mad.
But see, here's the thing: there was only one game. I understand where y'all are coming from. I understand where you're coming from when you say no football. There is a difference. But last week there was only one game. There was only one. Like it's not like there was a whole bunch of games. It's one thing to go completely cold turkey. Like if you take me off a whole slate of Saturday games or Sunday games, and you say you gotta stop now. Like I spent last weekend with no football for all but 4 hours. Okay, I can find something to fill the void for 4 hours.
You sound like you've been weaned off of football.
Yeah, that's what it is. You get weaned. You guys are worried about you guys and Jen.
I mean, it's just so sad. I mean, I don't
worry about Jen quite as much because she took my Ryan Blaney pick. So Jen, you can pound sand right now.
I'll be watching a lot of football this weekend either way, so I don't really care.
I'm sorry. How?
Got to narrow down this top 50.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be watching
the big carrot board's got to be pared down to 50. There, you got to remember. There's a lot of tape to be watched. Yeah.
If you're gonna football nerd it up, I will match your nerdery, sir, your nerddom, by saying I saw more Gamecock football practice video in a post or a retweet that J.C. Horn put up yesterday than I've seen combined in the entire Will Muschamp era. There's some there's some practice video out there if you really want to nerd it up and go check it out. J.C. Horn retweeting somebody, I'm guessing connected to his camp, putting some video of him in practice out. I thought that's a weird thing to do. I mean, because unlike maybe in high school where you need to get some attention of lead recruiters out there at big time schools, you don't have to do this when you're at J.C. Horn's level, right? You don't have to promote yourself in the NFL draft process, do you, Patrick?
Well, there's no combine. There's no combine this year, so there's going to be a lot more stuff like that, and like videos being sent of the guys just doing the drills. I know like XS and some of these training centers that the draft prospects go to are going to do their own sort of combine setup thing, so teams can come there because there's no official rules on that. I think guys are just trying to think outside the box and promote themselves as much as possible. I'm sure he did put out film that made him look bad in any way.
Right, but if you're an NFL organization and social media is going to be your tool, I got big problems about your organization. And speaking of that, I think we have some South Carolina connections in an NFL organizational move. Get you details on that as we continue to roll on this morning. 803-404-6100. If you would like to join, we're up and rolling on both Facebook and YouTube live streams, Twitter as well on the station handle at 1075 The Game. It's the early game here on 1075 The Game.
Hey, what? I can tell you one speed that the speaker's on. You what? Somebody mute the YouTube or whatever, or some. There we go. Said this Gamecock football news that we're about to talk about is not being well received in the city in which it's happening.
Is that because they figured out the connection?
Yeah. It's pretty easy to find out that connection. Just read the Pro Football Talk. Type in Dylan Thompson Pro Football Talk.
Well, somebody put that on one of the message boards yesterday. They were like, Dylan Thompson's with the Texans. And somebody came back and said, just wait for the Texans who are already angry to figure out the connection between Dylan and Jack Easterby. I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
There's all sorts of articles and everything saying that the Lions hired him as character coach because of Jack Easterby's recommendation. Like, it's in writing everywhere. So it's hard to talk about that in this town. People get very defensive and attack you.
Said that I wanted to be a scientist, and
Aaron Wilson of the Houston Chronicle.
One of the draft guys I always follow, Lance Zerline, does all the write-ups for NFL.com, but he also hosts a radio show in Houston, and his timeline is just constantly filled with Easterby-related things. He never once positive. There was a video yesterday of some girl comparing him to Britney Spears' dad because that Britney documentary is making waves everywhere right now. She had a whole long thing. Justin Timberlake is the same as Bill O'Brien.
Oh my gosh.
And DeShaun Watson is Britney, I'm pretty sure. Ooh. Crab legs.
It is nasty out there this morning.
Is it raining really hard or just gross?
It's windy. It's not raining here. It's just.
Not really windy. It's just kind of ugly.
it's supposed to be. I mean, like Tim said, like that whole question said, it's just nasty.
Looks like that's going to be all of next week too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain a lot.
I don't ever look at anything other than the picture next to the day on my weather app. So, from what I can tell,
temperature now. The temperature is what matters. I can deal with rain if it's hot.
it's 41. Not that bad.
How did this go down is my question. It's going to be kind of how I'm going to frame it. That is correct, KT. Yep, you're all over it. So let me put a little banner up here for you.
I mean, Dylan Thompson is how old?
29.
Yeah, so I need to specify as a coach, character coach. People might actually read that and be like, "Wait, he's back in the league for another go?"
No, no, nobody that has paid too much attention. All right, but good call. That would be probably wise.
Could be the renaissance of his career.
How about join Texans staff?
There you go. Perfect.
Boy, if we were in studio right now, the stuff I'd be telling y'all.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Right?
Now you just got all the live streamers all excited.
Yeah, there's stuff from last night I'm learning right now that can't.
I don't quite understand. Stuff happened last night that you're learning about right now.
Craig was close to my bar tab. He was $20 off.
I mean, it's not like you can just say it. It's not like you went out and spent 10 grand at a strip club.
$102 at a bar that you would spend $102 at.
Yeah. But that number is not
I'm going to find the receipt.
Wait, as long as all of that wasn't just for you, I think it's excusable.
No, what? I've got to go see who. I don't know if stuff got.
Oh, you got to go straighten it out, huh?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
All right, guys, we're up.
If you need a chance to vent, and we're not doing a live local show, you can still do it here on 107.5 The Game. It's our Hot Take Hotline, sponsored by Twin Peaks. There for you 24/7, 803-978-6654. Twin Peaks, for the men who never settle. Go see him down in the Vista at 600 Gervais Street. Former Gamecock quarterback, Dylan Thompson. He actually went against DeShaun Watson, right? And they overlapped in that 2014 game. That's when the 5-game winning streak came to an end up in Death Valley, and DeShaun Watson played on the torn ACL. Dylan Thompson was the starting quarterback there, right? This was 2 years after he kind of filled in for Connor Shaw and had the famous, 3rd and 17 scramble and led Carolina to the relatively easy win that day, I think. Now Dylan Thompson reports in the NFL, joining the Houston Texans organization as their character coach. Typically, this is a very under-the-radar hire. Maybe we would bring this up in Columbia, South Carolina, because Bill, you, me, Patrick, I think this was, I guess, a little bit before your time. Maybe you watched Dylan Thompson on television a little bit, having just kind of known Steve Spurrier's program, living up in Maryland before you came to the University of South Carolina, the year after Thompson left. But I think everybody around Columbia, we've had him on the show before. Bill, I know you coached him in AAU basketball, so you had much more of a personal relationship than most of us. I covered him at Carolina and really appreciated his cooperation and expanding much more in his public comments than previous quarterbacks, and thought he's a really likable guy, really likable kid, heck of a player. He is the one guy in my mind, Bill, that convinced me that Gamecock fans have completely unrealistic standards for their quarterback. He had a record-setting season there in 2014, and yet still people called up to this station on Monday morning complaining about him specifically not doing enough for Carolina to win. And I just thought it was a completely unrealistic standard. He went on to be a part of a couple of NFL organizations. I think it was the Rams and the 49ers there, and got a little run, got a couple of NFL paychecks. He ended up on the practice squads there with them. Never really appeared in a regular season game, but has gone on and has most recently been with the Lions as a character coach. He got there through Matt Patricia was the coach there. Jack Easterby, the former kind of character coach at Carolina, who has now gained fame or become infamous, I guess it depends how you look at it, for his role with the Houston Texans organization, having gained a lot of momentum in his career with the New England organization at first. So the connection with he and Matt Patricia, kind of, if you connect the dots, how Dylan Thompson ended up going to Detroit, but now Thompson joining Easterby and the Houston Texans organization that has been in the news all over the place in the NFL. Really the headline off the field news with DeShaun Watson formally asking for a trade. And I am surprised to hear that Dylan Thompson has joined the organization knowing the situation that Jack Easterby is in. And Patrick, just off the air, you were talking about you have a buddy, or you know somebody who is a sports talk radio show host in Houston, and the conversation that's going on there right now.
Yeah, it's just a draft guy I follow. It's not good. I mean, if we just isolate the whole situation to this week, the president of the Texans organization for the past 20 years officially resigned, even though it was rumored that he's been wanting to resign for weeks, maybe even months, but didn't do it just yet because he was waiting for the PR crisis to die down a little bit. You fired your equipment manager who had a great relationship with DeShaun Watson, who you're adamant that you're not going to trade. And now you're hiring a character coach that is directly linked to the guy that everyone pretty much unanimously is saying is running the organization with zero football experience. It's just an interesting situation.
Bill, what do you make of it?
Big picture, if this was two people that weren't connected to South Carolina, we wouldn't have this discussion, right? This is
Not here.
I don't know.
Not here, but nationally, everyone's having this discussion.
Well, no,
If we're just talking NFL, yes.
Yeah, I
think you do.
nobody would care. You guys don't overblow it. Like I get it. I understand what Patrick's saying, because Patrick brought up that we wouldn't be having this discussion if this was
we don't talk about that much.
If this was two guys connected to North Carolina State, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We wouldn't be talking about this. And part of the reason.
Hold on just a second. If it's about Russell Wilson and his possible break from the Seattle Seahawks, it might come up in conversation.
Yeah, we have talked about DeShaun Watson.
It's a very similar deal.
Yeah.
No, it's no. We wouldn't be having this discussion if they hired a character coach, guys. They didn't hire an offensive. You want bigger news? Did you see who they hired as their defensive line coach yesterday? That's more entertaining. Did you see who the Texans hired as their defensive line coach?
No.
Did not. Who was it?
The Wofford defensive line coach.
Why is that more entertaining?
Because that's an actual coaching spot. It took away from
this is a more more
Well,
linked
here's
to
why
Deshaun
this
Watson.
is.
Deshaun Watson is the biggest story in the NFL right now because he's
This
a top
is-
5 quarterback demanding a trade because of this situation.
But that's because I think we're talking about it because of the two people involved in their connection to South Carolina.
No, it's being talked about a lot.
We talked about it because the Carolina Panthers are interested. It could
Well-
completely change the NFL's perception in the state of South Carolina.
Is it a headline on ESPN? Let's look. Raiders
No,
plan to cut
nobody's
receiver
arguing
Williams.
that.
Well,
Headline of
no, Patrick's telling me that everybody's talking about it nationally.
It's not one of the top 5 headlines on ESPN.com, so it's not being talked about nationally. Are you kidding me?
There's
These guys have to
seven.
keep yelling
Patrick.
at each other.
There's 7.
We got
There's
Alex Smith
7.
coming up.
There's 7, and now on the ESPN. It's not on there. It's not on there. I like this live stream. We can just carry right on from the show on over to the live stream. It's not on there.
So I asked you what you made of the situation, and you turned that into you guys are making way too much of a deal about it.
Yeah, you guys are. Thank you, Heat. Easy.
That's not helping you at all. What do you mean? He's not on your side. He's just telling you to calm down.
Yeah, he's telling y'all to calm down. You guys need to settle down.
You're the one that got it all huffy puffy.
Testy. So still, I walk past this bag. Can you hear this?
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about the other day.
Yeah,
That
you
is
know what's in there?
Here.
It's in there because the security officer, you probably don't see her, security officer Brown, she's there on the weekends. She was getting annoyed by it being out in the hallway because they were at the box in the hallway and it was barking all day long. So she was like, "Yeah, I just put it in your studio." It's like, okay, so
And because it's
now I
motion
just get to hear it.
activated, yeah, it's scaring the tar out of me every time
Yeah.
I pass it.
Go throw that thing away, Jen.
Well, like it should be donated to somebody so somebody else can enjoy the. You know. But I may take see if I can take a battery out. But yeah, I just walked over to the printer a minute ago and it's like, oh, sheets.
Trey hit us up about making a. Oh, that was a different Trey. That's why I'm getting confused. I thought Trey hit us up at
I
7.
agree, Jan. Hope, go away. It's Friday. Nobody fights on a Friday.
Morning, Trey. Different Trey weighed in at 7:14. I thought you weighed in with a hot take earlier, and now you're coming back 45 minutes later saying good morning. That girl, Hope, you know what's going on. Jan, absolutely not. And he's the one who
No.
says these things.
not when he starts it.
I did see the laughing emoji, so yeah.
Yeah,
That's what people want.
he understands.
That's good radio when we're yelling at each other.
Exactly.
Depends what you're yelling about.
I'm good with the Gunter punching bag.
CJ says it's on ESPN, Bill.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, ESPN, the Houston Chronicle, NBC Sports, Sports Illustrated.
Classic.
It's
And then
not, I'm looking.
Yeah,
Here's the headline. This is on NFL. This is on the NFL page for ESPN. Source: Bucks Brady to have minor surgery, knee surgery. Jags Meyer defense hiring controversial Doyle. Stafford trade request. Hardest conversation. Source: Raiders plan to cut receiver Williams. Trial of ex-Seahawk O-line Wheeler moved to June. Training site to simulate combine with own event. All right, let's scroll down here.
let's not read all the website of ESPN.com. You made your point.
I don't know. Your point is irrelevant though. Like, what do you say? Because it's not on the
It's not
top
irrelevant.
page of
It's not
ESPN?
irrelevant. It's
Because it's not on the top page
erroneous.
of ESPN. It's not a story.
It's not a story. It's
It is
a
a
story
story.
because it's a story, and I would love to do, and I will say this. This is the other crazy part of this. I actually would like to discuss it because I'm not particularly pleased with what Jack Easterby's doing, and I think that he is a villain in this situation. And I have no problem on this radio. I have no problem saying that.
That's the whole point, Bill.
You just
now-
poo-pooed the whole subject.
He's a
You're
villain.
now-
He's a villain. He's a villain. And
You're now
Hope,
disagreeing with
don't
your
tell people to
original
fight. See, Hope, you see what you started? This is all Hope's fault. It's all Hope's fault. Look at it. It says right there, we've got it in wording, all caps, fight, fight. And you see what you started? It's all Hope's fault.
Let's
Jackie,
see what
he's
we
a
got.
villain. I'm with you. I have no problem saying that on air.
Can you see the pigtails that are kind of under his Titleist hat there on the screen?
You know, this Monster-in-Law movie is not as good as I thought.
It's actually a very fun movie. And Michael Vartan's just not terrible to look at, so that helps.
Oh, Uncle Tim, who you got there? Is that Gregory?
That's Gregory.
Hey, Gregory. Good morning.
What? We're not doing school? What's the deal, dude?
Hey, get to school, buddy.
We are fighting about the Houston Texans and a former Gamecock quarterback joining their organization right now, and Bill is very confused.
How am I confused?
Look at what Ty's asking. Why does Will go by Bill?
That's actually very easy, Ty. That's actually very easy. William Christopher Gunner is my name, and William Christopher Gunner, and my grandfather's name was Bill. Will short for Bill, everything. So they called me Bill in high school. So when I got to college, I didn't want to be that guy in class. I had some smaller classes early on. In high school, everybody knew me as Bill. When I got to college, you didn't know anybody. It's different. Everybody comes together. I didn't want to be the guy who was like, please call me Bill. They'd say William Christopher Gunner. So I just was like, yeah, whatever, William. And then everybody would short it up to Will. So all the people in college got to know me as Will. And then I kind of allowed that to develop into the professional world, if you want to say that, whatever radio is, Will. And then when I went to get on Twitter, Bill was not available, so I went with Will. And to be completely honest, you couldn't do two L's. It was only one L. And I really like that. I like the one L. I think that's unique, W-I-L. And if I had my way, you go away too.
Right.
If I had my way, I would go W-I-L. If I could start over and rename myself, it would be W-I-L Gunter. And that's not too much. You go away. You just go away.
But instead, just T-W-I-T. That's pretty easy to spell.
I got a 4-letter word for you, and then it's followed by a 3-letter word.
Playing Hangman this morning, huh?
Right.
I don't think I'll play that one with my kids.
I got a good question for y'all, since it's such a hot topic. Who did Detroit hire? Murray sends me this. My attorney, who I would always worry if I was being billed for talking sports or other stuff. Who did Detroit hire? Who is Detroit hiring to replace Dylan Thompson?
Not an issue. Not a
story. It is an issue. They've got to repair. They've got to build a relationship with Jared Goff.
We are in the open.
The way you're
doesn't matter if we're in the open, Tim. Doesn't matter.
The way you're twisting this discussion is ridiculous.
Oh, you guys are just mad.
All right, you guys are up.
I think we're seeing. So, what is it? You got man versus man, or man versus himself. Isn't that the it's one of the eternal questions, right? The conflicts in life, whether you have a conflict with someone else or you have a conflict with you. I think we're seeing both right now with Bill in the live video stream. We just brought up.
I'm having fun. It's just it's going to be and I'm see. Here's the thing. Here's what happens. Here's what's happened. Last week we did 6 hours on Friday. And so I've built myself up for 6 hours. So like right now, there's a ton of energy because we only got one more hour left. I'm going to be maxed out. I've built for 6 hours. So normally I'd wear down at 11 o'clock. Right now I'm hitting full stride and I am perfectly okay. I agree. Murray, good buddy of mine, sends in a text message. Who is Detroit hiring to replace Dylan Thompson? I think we should get into that discussion. They've got to build a relationship with Jared Goff. This is important. If we're going to discuss the decision of Jack Easterby hiring Dylan Thompson.
You sound ridiculous right now.
You're bitter.
Well, no, you're a
bitter. You're a bitter, angry.
Gearing up for a 6-hour show is to poo-poo an idea instead of answering a question. I just shut it down and say, why are we even talking about this? That's your idea.
Carrot and I are so disappointed in you. Yeah. Papa Carrot and I, we are so. I need your dad's phone number so we can exchange text messages about you throughout the show. We can just discuss this.
Yeah. Hope says it's Bill versus Will right now. Great call. So the story we brought up, and again, knowing that it is the first official weekend of the non-football season, even though I think there is one college game out there because of the spring season kicking off for colleges in limited capacity. But no football this weekend, the weekend after the Super Bowl. You got bad weather. You got Valentine's Day in the mix. You got college basketball just being more confusing than it's ever been. The top 13 all-time winningest programs, none of them ranked, I think, this week is where it's at. Gamecocks play Ole Miss tomorrow. Carolina 3 games under 500 in both conference and overall. It's been a disappointing, frustrating season for Frank Martin and company. The USC women did win last night against Missouri after being tied at halftime. They cruised there in the third quarter, no problems. Now they're 30th straight SEC win. All of that goes into this mix. But the situation around the Houston Texans has been the most written about off-season story there is, because DeShaun Watson has clearly tried to – he wants a breakup. He's done. He wants a divorce. It was a feel-good story and a tremendous organization, 3 years ago? Bill O'Brien and company kind of took the Patriots, I think, to the brink in the playoffs. DeShaun Watson is fun to watch and clearly one of the best players in the NFL. J.J. Watt, one of the best players in the NFL for years now, and also seems to be a tremendous guy off the field and done great things there. You had Jadeveon Clowney, one of the most talented guys coming into the NFL that the league has seen in years or decades. That didn't work out. There were plenty of Carolina connections when DJ Swearinger and Jonathan Joseph were there and a bunch of Clemson guys at the same time. And now this thing has devolved through the years so much. I didn't even mention the former Gamecock alum and Bob McNair, the longtime owner there. He passed away recently, relatively recently. His son has taken over. The other Carolina connection is that former Gamecock character coach, Columbia native Jack Easterby, joined the organization and has progressed through the organization. This is why it's a story, because the NFL's never seen what is basically a team chaplain advance all the way up an organization to having the owner's ear. And at the same time, seeing personnel moves so head-shakingly confusing to send one of the best wide receivers in the league, if not the best wide receiver in the league, trade him away, and get virtually nothing for him. And now you've ticked off your franchise quarterback so much he doesn't want to be there anymore. A franchise quarterback, by the way, who I don't know if there has been a quarterback as talented as DeShaun Watson to come off as likable as he has. I mean, I'm saying this in Columbia, South Carolina. I think even Gamecock fans have to admit, DeShaun Watson, it's tough to say a bad word about the guy. He has a lot of Marcus Lattimore qualities to him in that rivalry, where even your rival, you typically don't say many bad words about that guy, because first of all, they're so good from a playing standpoint, but also the character is kind of unanimously applauded in multiple ways. So now the latest version, the latest chapter of this saga in the NFL that recently included the Texans hiring a general manager that has a relationship with Jack Easterby from the New England franchise. And in this process, they said that DeShaun Watson would have some say, and then they didn't give him any say. And then they hire a head coach that no one has heard of in the NFL, a 25-year assistant. Maybe it's longer than that, 35 years. I don't know what it is. David Culley is the guy's name, but he was coaching wide receivers for the Ravens, and the Ravens wide receivers haven't been exactly very good lately, and even people in the organization didn't know him very well. And so now all this has led to Dylan Thompson, former Gamecock quarterback, who was part of the Lions organization. Matt Patricia had come from New England. I think upon the recommendation, widely reported, of Jack Easterby, Matt Patricia hired Dylan Thompson to jump from Charleston Southern, where he was working at the time on the basketball team, to the NFL and be the character coach of the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Bill, that wasn't true, that he was down in Charleston Southern. You don't remember that? I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it worked out for Dylan Thompson's timeline. He went from
playing in the NFL and being a part of organizations in the practice squad, back down to Charleston Southern and being part of the basketball program there, Barkley Radeball, former Gamecock men's assistant under Eddie Fogler. I'm pretty positive, man. You can double check that one.
I don't.
And then jump to the NFL. I remember it being at the time.
Yeah, you're right. He was the director of player development for the Charleston Southern. So kind of a, yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I totally didn't remember the Charleston Southern thing. But yeah, director of player development, and then he was hired in 2018. He was hired. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, I thought it was further back, but I get it. I get it. The Jack Easterby thing. How much does he have to do with the Texans organization? Certainly, if you read what the Texans are saying. Oh, I shouldn't say what the Texans are saying. If you read what the papers are saying, if you follow the fans, he and Kyle McNair are public enemies 1A and 1B, that they've ruined that franchise. And look, man, you look at the franchise and it's probably so. You just went through everything and explained it. And Easterby deserved that franchise. Patrick, is it the worst in the NFL now?
Yes.
And you pointed out, Patrick's pointed it out multiple times when we talked about coaching searches. They have, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong on this because I'm kind of using you here. They have no cap room. They have no draft picks. They have nothing.
Right.
There's nothing about that franchise that is appealing, and Jack Easterby deserves the blame. If what is being said is true, I don't know. Otherwise, he's an irrelevant figure, and it's an irrelevant conversation. But if he is what he's being portrayed to be, then he has completely messed that thing up, and he should be fired. And that's the way it is. And you're right. It looks like he's hiring people around that he knows around him. And now they're going to have to trade their franchise quarterback because they've upset him so much. It looks like they've lied to him. I mean,
that's the notable part about this latest.
Yeah,
that's why exactly. That's the notable part.
Because
Dylan Thompson joining the Houston Texans.
No, it's not because it's from South Carolina. When you look at all the other developments that have happened inside the organization between last year, firing a public relations manager for no reason who was wildly popular amongst the players and everyone that covered the team, then you hire a general manager who the search firm that was hired by the team didn't even decide to interview, but had a relationship with the guy already. He's already been docked for tampering with him in the past. Then the team president, who's been there for over 20 years, steps down and was rumored to have wanted to step down a while ago, but didn't do it because he just didn't want to make the PR worse. You fire the equipment manager who is very close with the quarterback who you swear you don't want to trade, and now you hire a guy who has a well-documented relationship with the person that is being accused of all these things. It's just more circumstantial evidence. It's 100% relevant. It's all pieces of the puzzle.
Look, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with either of you on the fact that what's happening with the Texans isn't the biggest NFL storyline right now besides Tom Brady trying to toss the Lombardi Trophy out.
We have the Super Bowl, so it's not
15 yards across the Tampa Bay. But the bottom line is, I'm with you. What's happening? I don't think the Dylan Thompson news changes my perception of what is wrong with the Texans. And I understand it. For us, we look at it, we understand it. Like, I can put two and two together and be like, oh, Easterby Thompson, yeah, that clearly looks like an Easterby move. I'm with you guys on that. But Dylan Thompson going to Houston doesn't change, good or bad, the DeShaun Watson narrative that they've really messed that up. And that DeShaun Watson, I think, I can't – what do you guys put the odds on that he – it feels to me, and I think this is the more important storyline if you want to get into this discussion, it feels to me that the Texans – actually have the leverage here. Watson's not going to sit out 2021. If the Texans don't trade him, he strikes me as such a good guy. He will play. Now, he might not be happy, Tim, but I also don't think he's an Antonio Brown or a Le'Veon Bell. He's not going to be a locker room cancer. His teammates like him. He's not that guy. I feel like because of his personality, what you were saying, one of the most likable professional athletes, what he's done for the city of Houston. Trey hits us up on the live stream and says, agreed. What you said about liking DeShaun Watson, agreed. The post-Texas flood donations will always make him admirable. DeShaun Watson is a genuinely good guy, and his teammates like him, and he's not going to go into that locker room and cause a problem. And I feel like, and you guys this is the debatable point. I feel like the Texans know that, and they've got him. Now, whether they want to use him as trade bait for a pick or for a cap space, whatever, that's different. That if you want to build your franchise, you want to rebuild your franchise. But I feel like the Texans are looking at this and saying, he's not going to be a locker room problem, and we can keep him. And he's going to play hard, and he wants to win, and he'll get over it. He'll get over the fact that we hired a coach that nobody ever has heard of. Probably wasn't known. What franchise did he come from? The Redskins? Where did he come from? Ravens. Yeah, nobody knows. They're like, probably nobody in the Ravens franchise knew he's left. Like, his office is just sitting there, and they're like, you guys think Coley coming in today? You guys not agree? Like, Tim, you seem to be very adamant that, like, he will cause a problem, that he'll be an issue. I don't see DeShaun Watson being that if they keep him.
The situation you described has never happened in professional sports.
Right, that too. Well, not in football.
A superstar playing against his will?
Basketball or baseball. When does it happen in another sport?
Never. You're talking about, I think you're talking about it from the college perspective, Bill, where players don't have the power that they have in pros. DeShaun Watson has already made his move. Checkmate. He's done. He's done. He's got plenty of money. He's not going starving.
So let me ask you, let me ask you this. If they keep him, what do you think he does?
He doesn't play.
You're saying if they keep him, if they do not trade him, you think DeShaun Watson would sit out 2021? Patrick, do you agree with that?
Yes.
I asked Patrick, not you.
Potentially, but I think he's got enough. The Texans have the leverage in the sense that they don't have to trade him.
Right. That's what
no one's going to make them do it. But the point is, you're not going to just hold him hostage and have him clearly be unhappy there on a bad team, because people will offer massive trade packages for him. It's not like somebody that says trade me. And they're like, sorry, all we can get for you is a 7th round pick, and you're better than that, so it's not worth it.
That's
Le'Veon Bell. That's Antonio Brown.
Exactly.
If they get a great trade, I'm with you on that.
But they will, because he's an elite quarterback.
What do you think they get?
They'll get 4 first-round picks, or they'll get 2 1s, 2 2s, and a player like they won. They'll get something along those lines.
Similar to what the Rams gave up to get Staff.
But that's different.
That's probably double that.
That's different. I don't disagree with y'all on that. If you get a great trade offer, you make the trade, because that franchise is now in rebuild mode.
Well, that's why I think it's.
And that's fine. I'm agree. But I'm saying that the Texans, to me, where we're going with this, and this is, if you're a Panthers fan and you're listening, you go, well, why are you guys having this conversation? Well, if I'm interested. I'd love to see the Panthers get DeShaun Watson. I'm all for that. We spent a show, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, discussing that. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the Panthers give up the 8th pick to give up Burns. I'd love to see whoever you got. Patrick, you had the trade. I think you had the trade scenario, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Whatever you offered. I was totally on. I forget who you had in that. I feel like you had Burns and the pick and everything. I forget. But I love your trade scenario. I'm all for that. But I'm also saying that the Texans, as you said, they don't have to take the first available offer. They can wait this thing out until the draft night. Patrick would love that, right? You would love that. You're talking about doing the live stream of the draft.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that, and I think that's what they are going to do. But the point of all these transactional things in the organization is, as it pertains to Watson, is they're saying that they don't want to trade him and aren't interested in trading him, but their actions indicate that they don't care about giving him what he wants. So, like, firing a guy that he likes, 2 people that he was very close with, that didn't have any impact on your wins or losses. All they did was work with the media and pick out your uniforms and wash your uniforms. Like, there's no reason to do that.
And the latest example of that is hiring former Gamecock quarterback Dylan Thompson, who's described Jack Easterby as his mentor. That's why it's more than relevant for us. But it's not just us talking about this.
What that shows me is that Easterby is in charge is running the franchise, and that he's not doing a good job. That he's
which is relevant, because that's not what they're trying to do.
Now it becomes a relevant conversation. Which let's move past that. We've made it relevant. We've talked about it for 19 minutes. But yeah, that's where you find fault with Easterby. And if you're a Texans fan, I can understand why you're taking to Twitter. What's the hashtag, Patrick? Fire Easterby? Is that it?
Definitely a hashtag going on right now. Yeah.
That's why I'm understandable. You get on there. Somebody put out a tweet the other day that they'll fire their manager, their equipment manager, their PR person. They'll fire everybody. They won't fire the guy who's really messing up the organization.
803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Love Chevy phone lines up and rolling. We'll get into Gamecock baseball preseason predictions. Carolina basketball set to go tomorrow against Ole Miss at the Colonial Life Arena, and the USC women a win at home last night against Missouri after being tied at half. They end up their 30th straight SEC win, relatively comfortable after a big third quarter. It's the early game here on 107.5.
Hey, you got to win with that.
I bet you have it down. Are you okay with it right now?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready. I got Corley Pool, right? Corley Pool. Oh, that was a hot segment right there. There was a lot of hot takes, good, bad. Somebody's telling me it's terrible. I don't agree with that. That's fine. But it was a hot segment. It's the kind of hot segment that right now I want to go jump in the pool. I need to go. I have to cool off. You'd have to cool off. But you know what? If your pool is not properly maintained, I know it's February. You still got to start maintaining it because in the summertime, you got to have it ready to go. Hot takes like that, you got to jump in the pool. You got to cool off a little bit. And with Corley Pool Solutions, your pool will be ready to use when the weather changes. You don't want to be the person going to the pool. So think about that. Here we are, the weekend. You have no football. You got nothing to do. You got Valentine's Day, but you got nothing to do. Is that what you really want to be doing? You want to be going to the pool store trying to figure out the chemicals you got to buy, spending the extra money? Do you realize it's actually more expensive to go and buy the chemicals for your pool and to maintain it yourself than it is to hire Corley Pool Solutions? Find out for yourself. 803-445-8109. They'll do a flat rate pricing. It includes all the chemicals. They'll do weekly checkups. They'll test the chemicals. They'll vacuum and net. They'll do brushing, skimmer cleaning. They take care of everything. Tracy Corley's been in the business 20 years. He's fantastic at this. Let an expert take care of your pool so that when you're ready to use it, it's available. You don't have to spend the time working on it. You work hard all week. Why would you want to go home on the weekend and have to maintain your pool? You want to be able to jump in. You want to use it for your kids. Let Corley Pool Solutions take care of you. Let them maintain your pool, have it ready for you. 803-445-8109. That number again, 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
And from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center,
Shepherd's Glass. Such a blazing hot take, I was losing my voice.
ShepherdsGlass.com. Wet highways out there, so lots of tie-ups to let you know about. Broad River Road at I-20, right there at the exit ramp, there is a report of an accident. Still working on Clemson Road at Sparkleberry Lane. Also I-20 westbound before Spears Creek Church Road. Leisure Lane at St. Andrews Road still could have a bit of a slowdown. South Lake Drive at I-20 and Shop Road at Pineview Drive in the cleanup stages. Weather-wise, we are looking at rain really for the next several days. It's going to pick up a little bit this evening, 44 for the high, again 44 tomorrow, 49 on Sunday. Right now, we do have some rain and 40 at 107.5 The Game.
Education lottery. Mega Millions jackpot for Friday is $82 million. Be sure to stop by.
Sorry, forgot to mute that.
No, everybody got to hear it. That was good.
Yeah, that's what they want. Well, it was so amazing. We'll let them hear it on a couple of the other stations.
Hey, Jen, can you do me two favors on can you pull that Corley Pool Solution spot and email it to me?
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a segment that it wasn't Patrick's fault, but he sent me the wrong segment. I had asked for the wrong segment like a week ago, and I was just wrong when I talked about it. And I will send you a date, and if you can go pull the last segment of the 6 o'clock hours when we were talking about jerseys.
Okay.
And I needed to send that to a buddy of mine. Patrick, I think I told you it was like the first part of the 7 o'clock hour. It must have been the
6 o'clock hour?
That's part of the 6 o'clock hour. Because I listened to it and it was like all we were talking about. It was the day that I started drinking the coffee for wellness, and Tim starts it with like, "Oh, that's an awful review." You can. And I listened to it. It was like nothing in there. I thought it was the set. I swore that was the segment we discussed it, but I guess I'm wrong.
All right, yeah, just let me know for sure what segment I can pull it.
Yeah, I'll go back. It was right before the skimmer dropped.
Man, some of our texts are just annoying. Like, Cocky Codger, sorry you don't care, but saying the Houston media doesn't care this much, it's literally all they talk about. So, just.
I know that people are coming after me with this. I really don't think he sits out. I don't think DeShaun Watson doesn't strike me as a guy who would sit out.
I just don't think Houston can let it get to that point. So
Well,
I don't think it'll be relevant. I don't think they can afford that to happen.
He just doesn't strike me as a guy. And I could be wrong. I'm kind of pulling out for Houston to allow it to push it to the point that you're saying. But I don't think DeShaun Watson would sit out. I could be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've got him misjudged.
It's definitely a trend of people requesting trades now that wasn't happening in the past. You see Orlando Brown requested a trade from the Ravens because he wants to play left tackle and they have him playing right tackle behind opposite the best left tackle in the NFL. He's all mad about it now.
I think it's always happened, Patrick. We just know about it more now.
I guess. But we don't hear about formal trade requests like that. Like,
why would the team let that out?
I don't know. The Brown thing annoys me. It's so dumb. Hurting his team for no reason.
We're heading back in, so the next break is 40, and Tim, you're 0 res.
Got it. Thanks, Jen.
And
Jen, I'm done for the day, right?
you were done about 6:30, but yeah.
Jen thinks she's so funny.
Tee that one up for her.
Hope you get a bowling ball for Valentine.
Guys are up.
Hey, love to have you come tee it up with us. Our spring golf tournament, not too far away. It's nice to think about on a day like today and a weekend that's going to be like it is this weekend. Exactly 4 weeks from today, on March 12th, we'll be out at Windermere Club teeing it up at 10 a.m. for our spring golf tournament. 4-person captain's choice. The format, you can sign up as a team or as an individual right now. Just give Windermere a call at 803-786-7888. That's 786-7888. Breakfast and lunch included. Going to get a heckle hole going out there. I am really looking forward to this thing. Portions of the proceeds will go to Camp Cole, and our spring golf tournament sponsored by Integrated Media. It's still your home, just smarter. IntegratedMediaInc.com is the place to go to find more information about Integrated Media on the website, or on the internet, I should say. Let's talk some Gamecock basketball, shall we? Frank Martin and company coming off the disappointing loss to Alabama. Good performance, I would say, overall, but disappointing loss. Especially with the situation at the end of the game. Down 3, they end up shooting the 2 and never get a chance to get a tying shot up after the 2 free throws were made with 2 seconds to go, and a half court goes uncaught. And to me, Bill, and Frank Martin said it after the game, I think in his media Zoom call, that one exchange, I don't know if you call it a play, but the situation there of him drawing up a play to shoot a three-pointer 3 different ways with 3.9 seconds left, down 3, and his team, basically Jermaine Couisnard and Justin Minaya. Couisnard passes it into Minaya, who lays it up because Alabama didn't even put a didn't even put a heel inside the 3-point line to defend them. He said that summed up the 2021 season. His team just not executing what he wants them to execute. Where do you go from here after that, with Ole Miss coming into town tomorrow for a 6 o'clock tip?
I feel like I really do feel like. Well, let's start with this. You guys agree I know it's a loss. It was a top 10 team. That was one of the better games that South Carolina's played. Do you guys agree with that?
Total. We got the good version of Gamecock basketball.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick, I don't know if you're shaking. I don't know if you agree or do.
No, I'm
you
agreeing.
Okay. I feel like you're going to get a good South Carolina team but here's I say that, and then I'm like, I don't know what you're going to get. And so when you ask, like, and Frank Martin brings that up about not executing or not running plays or not listening, whatever it is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what exactly you're going to get on Saturday with this ball club and how they're going to act, how they're going to respond, what they're going to do. Like, you can't. I think you're going to get a good AJ Lawson. I really believe that Seventh Woods is going to play well because I think he's finding his game. But other than that, can you guys give me something that you're certain on from South Carolina basketball?
Keyshawn Bryant. Keyshawn, what was it about the defense, Patrick?
He's
Bad defense.
No, because I think we got pretty good defense the last game. We got certainly good defense against Georgia.
Yeah, 81 points.
Alabama can score, man.
But it was all on layups and three-pointers, which is just what they do. You didn't make them uncomfortable.
Okay. I'll give you that. Keyshawn Bryant will have a massive block or a massive dunk. We'll agree with that one too, right? One isolated incident at least. I never even talked about that ridiculous spike he had in the Mississippi State game. About the most devastating block you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it came after his own turnover, and then Mississippi State scored, I think, after that ball out of bounds, so it didn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. That's probably why we didn't talk about it. But I think we'll get Keyshawn. We've seen Keyshawn Bryant become a consistent basketball player this year by and large. A guy you can count on to go out there and get you 15 points in SEC play. So I think you can count on him as well. It's just everything else, I think, is the difficult part right now. And Alan hits us up with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is men's Gamecock basketball. I think it's very fair, and it is what this team has been, not just this year, but I think the last several years in a lot of ways.
So another thing I noticed, so Monday night after the women's game, Maryland-Ohio State came on FS1, and I watched that game, and then I watched South Carolina the next day. And one thing I noticed this time, there's no fans this year, so a big part of the atmosphere is the guys on the bench being really loud and standing and clapping the whole time. I watched Maryland-Ohio State play. They're both good teams. Ohio State's top 5 in the country, and both benches are fully standing up, yelling the entire time. You can hear it over the broadcast, and they're screaming. I feel like, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I feel like I see, unfortunately, the camera angle at Colonial CLA, they're on the opposite side. They're close, so you can't see the bench the whole time. But I'm not hearing it in the background. I'm really not seeing guys getting up and clapping and yelling and being animated on the sideline, except for the Keyshawn Bryant dunks is pretty much the only time you ever see it happening. I don't feel like there's a ton of energy, and that might be a reason, not a reason, but that just plays into the not playing much defense, starting slow, all these things. I just don't feel like this team has a lot of personality or energy this year. It's just not coming out.
Well, Frank Martin's talked about leadership issues this year. He's talked about it with seemingly every one of his teams to some degree. And this year, when you throw Seventh Woods, a grad transfer, into the mix and put him as the point guard, I think that might have something to do with it. Frank structures his teams differently than a lot of other teams, where he preferred to have 2 point guards playing on the court at the same time. And we saw it with PJ Dozier and Dwayne Notice, even though Notice more of an off guard. But I think that's a good example of it working well, obviously, in the Final Four run. And this year, Jermaine Couisnard running the point most of last year. He and Seventh Woods, the combo, most of the time hasn't worked out great. Trey hits us up on the live stream there on YouTube and says, Patrick's spot on. I think with Frank's personality being what it is on the sideline, I've seen his teams through the years not be like those typical teams you're talking about, Patrick, where you get more of the rah-rah, energetic. You got to make sure the huddle it happens really quickly in between plays, and you're in there and you're doing a lot of talking and the whole thing. I think that's just kind of been the identity of his teams through the years that I've seen. Bill, what about you? You're a basketball guy. You've been a basketball coach on the high school level before. What about this team and how it interacts kind of in between plays and the personality of it?
You guys are familiar. I think Jen would probably love to use it. The old phrase, too cool for school. I feel like at times that's what this team is. They're all just too cool to do the dirty things that help you win a basketball game. You know, I was listening. This is weird. Year 9, and I was listening to the announcers on Tuesday night, and they were talking about how this team is not physical. They don't get in and bang around with you. This is not a team that wants to get into a rock fight with you. How is it's not because they're missing Alonzo Frank. That's one guy. Why is this team not physical? Again, this is a veteran team. That's what bothers me about this basketball team. Like, people are like, well, South Carolina's struggling, but look at Duke and Kentucky and Michigan State. Duke and Kentucky have got all one-and-doners. John Calipari, Mike Krzyzewski, I'm not trying to give them a pass because they've got talented basketball teams, but I do at least understand that because they haven't gotten the practice time. They haven't gotten the ability to coach at their philosophies to do the things that bring those teams together. It's a veteran basketball team. I've said it multiple times. There's 4 key players that I look at, 4 of them, that have been in the system for 3 years or longer. Seventh Woods has been around for a year. That's the part. Like, how do you have a team that has that identity as not a who was it? Maybe you guys heard that comment the other day. It might have been John Sunvold and who was the other guy who was doing the commentating? Tom Hart. And they were talking about, they're like, this is not a typical Frank Martin team, and that they're not a physical team. They're not a team that you're afraid to play because of they're gonna beat you up. I don't understand. Like, that's just what this team is. They're not a team that's gonna go in there and personify the Frank Martin image of a basketball team. And that's why I say they're like too cool for school. That's the best analogy I can use, because it's like, we're going to avoid contact, and we're not going to be physical down low, and we're not going to do the dirty things, and I don't mean dirty in a bad way, but the hard-nosed things that win us basketball games. That's just not what they want. It's not what these guys are. And I'll be honest, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, as I watch A.J. Lawson play, I think he's a great basketball player. And I think he's going to be so underrated when he leaves South Carolina. But you've got to do those things to excel in the NBA, and I'm not sure he can do them. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah, completely. I think that's very fair. Now, as you were talking, it dawned on me, maybe the reason we're seeing this year, and I agree with you, I think to have heard Frank through the years use a pretty consistent explanation of why some of his teams or players specifically weren't playing well, he would say, well, they're young. This is what happens with young players. They're still trying to figure it out in the whole thing. Well, to see the experience not shining through this year is very frustrating. But do you think, having heard Frank talk about the specific COVID implications and how guys have had to be isolated, and how he specifically kind of gains trust and learns more about his players through a lot of off-the-court stuff that he's just unable to do right now, does it make sense to you that this team is not evolving like that Final Four team? Because it's easy to look to forget the growing pains that specific team went through and how it evolved to the ridiculous run it went on.
No, because I think that's kind of irrelevant to what Bill said about too cool for school and what I say about not having energy. That shouldn't matter at all. I mean, if it's reckless physicality and you're just racking up a bunch of fouls every game and that's just what it is, at least you're trying. That's what I think we're saying. We're not really seeing that. There's not a lot of energy. And when Frank says there's not a leader, I mean, one guy being a leader above everybody else isn't going to get the bench to stand up and yell the whole game or the whole team to play physical. I mean, it's just the mentality of the whole team this year just feels off.
I guess what I'm saying is, I think in the past, organically, this comes out of a college basketball season from Frank Martin's perspective, that you play yourself into leadership roles. And through those struggles, then you develop those relationships and maybe off the court as well. And that just hadn't happened this year. There's no doubt about that.
This is my point on that. What you're telling me is it's a year-to-year thing.
Right.
To me, you're treating it like the normal. And look, there are times where I would make the excuse for Frank Martin because of roster turnover that what you're saying is very legitimate. That's not the case this time. There was very little. There's been, for everything that everybody's saying, well, there's always a ton of transfers and roster turnover with Frank Martin's team. His last two teams hadn't had that. I know you've lost Coach. I know you lost Silva 2 years ago. Kotsar last year. I get that. But the sum of the parts seems to be better, and you haven't had the significant roster turnover that you've had. And that's why I don't agree with what you're saying, is because they're all familiar with one another. He's seen Kusanar for 3 years. He's seen Lawson for 3 years. They've seen him. They know what he wants. They didn't show up in September and start practicing and be like, man, this Frank Martin guy, really tough to play for. Yells a lot. Man, he really demands defense. They're not going to the locker room being like, man, dude, that Coach Martin, can't believe we practice defense all day. They got really, they know who he is. He knows who they are. He would talk about P.J. Dozier, and I understood what he was saying. He would say he was learning how to utilize P.J. Dozier. And I got that because Dozier was a unique basketball player, and he was a young kid, and you're trying to figure out how to use him. I got that. These guys are 3 years. There's four guys, Mania, Lawson, Cousinard, and Bryant. They've all been there for 3 years. They're not surprised by Frank Martin. Frank Martin shouldn't be surprised by them. That's why this year is frustrating. If it was a bunch of new kids, it was a bunch of new faces, I would be at the forefront of the group saying, hey, man, tough year. This is truly a year that I can't say anything bad about this team because it's all new faces. He hasn't gotten to practice with them. Practice has been limited. Patrick, you and I have talked about it at least some. They haven't had 10 guys to practice sometimes. December was a wash. I would say that. But you've had these kids for 3-4 years. They've lived together. They know each other. They practice together. They go to eat together. Like, all those things that come with knowing each other have been there for 3 years with at least your main core of players. Frank's not playing, but he's been there. Jalen McCrary, Will Levesque have been there for a year and a half.
Maybe to add to frustrations, you'll see a guy coming in from Ole Miss playing pretty good at point guard who grew up just down the road this weekend. 6 o'clock tip time again tomorrow, and I know that's been part of our conversation earlier in the week. I know you and Jay were talking about it, about through the years and South Carolina basketball through different coaches and how the common complaint is keeping in-state recruits in, and specifically a guy down the road. And what you're going to see with Ole Miss coming in this weekend is part of it. You've seen it before with Ole Miss. Who was the guy from Dutch Fork I'm thinking of?
Murphy Holloway.
Murphy Holloway, exactly.
By the way, you want to feel really old? You want an old moment?
No, thank you.
Murphy Holloway is Antonio Williams' stepfather. Antonio Williams, is it Williams? Why do I feel like I'm messing that up?
I think you have it right.
The wide receiver from Dutch Fork that is going to, and it's turning. He's gotten offers to go recruiting nerd on you real quick. Picked up a ton of big offers over the last few days. Georgia offered him, Michigan offered him. He's gotten Southern Cal offered him. Huge offers. Like, he's conceivably becoming the top player at the state. But Murphy Holloway is his stepfather. That made me feel exceptionally old.
It's been that kind of show today here, heading into Valentine's Day weekend with no football coming off the NFL wrapping up earlier this week. And we'll be interested to see what the Gamecocks do tomorrow against 6 o'clock tip time against Ole Miss. And Carolina coming off that looking to bounce back off that difficult loss against Alabama, and Devontae Shuler leading Ole Miss into the Colonial Life Arena tomorrow. Again, Ole Miss 6-6 in conference play, 11-8 overall. The Gamecocks 3-6 in conference play, 5-8 overall. Dramatic conclusion of the show coming up. We'll see if Bill and Patrick want to yell at each other a little bit. Let Jen get in a shot, and Bill, I'm sure, will give us his cinematic review of Monster-in-Law.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's 107.5 the game. a different feel this time of year. If you're looking to do something a little bit different for this weekend, Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe the act of service is what your significant other specifically is impressed with, or how she might feel the love. May I suggest something a little outside the box? Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning right now has a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $109. When you mention me, Tim Hill, a clean house is certainly something that my wife appreciates, and she's seen it firsthand a couple of times with Zero Res having come out to our house and cleaned our carpets, an area rug, freshened up the tiles in both the kitchen and the bathroom, done a great job, and they do it differently than anybody else. It's very important to us that there are no harsh chemicals involved in their patented cleaning process that uses powered water. We have nothing to worry about when it comes to our kids on the carpets. And also no leftover soapy residue. That's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well, and not just at your home. If you're in charge of a business, the commercial cleaning division of Zero Res, working day and night, businesses all over the Midlands, making sure things are clean and sanitized for everyone's safety, following all the CDC guidelines in the process. Again, that deal right now, $109 will get you 3 rooms of carpet clean. When you mention me, Tim Hill, schedule that Zero Res cleaning today. Give them a call at 803-262-4020. Book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
It's so mean.
Oh my gosh.
What are you reading?
Just the last text.
Oh,
It's like the meanest thing ever.
Brutal.
there's someone who's just what? Who's your ex?
Patrick, check out. You see December 1st, 2020?
Oh, there you go. Bill is trash. Too.
Better. Bill is trash as well.
Yeah, I'm awful. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, Patrick, you need to ask your girlfriend who some of her exes are. I think we can narrow down who this might be.
Yeah, my goodness.
Wow.
It's my whole thing is that I don't have life experience. That's the whole point.
Don't let it get you down.
It's okay. For the live streamers, the text starts with Patrick really sucks and ends with I hope y'all aren't paying that guy.
No, let's read the whole thing on the live stream only. I've been listening to every program and every host for 13 years, and Patrick really, truly is the worst. He sounds like he's got his fingers in his mouth. He should be replaced with someone who speaks clearly or at least has some life experience. I hope y'all aren't paying that guy. December 1st, 2020. If it was me, I would fire you two bums. Terrible. Lucky your broadcast is a monopoly. Bring back the old cast. Bill is trash.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm trash, and what is Patrick?
Just the worst. Terrible.
Worst, yeah.
Jen, thank you. I'll
I
listen to that.
Okay. I feel like maybe I need to offer a hug or something, you know?
What did I just say? I don't even get it. Bill and I agreed last night.
This guy sounds super pleasant. You're right, Mark, for sure. Let's see what else is rolling in here? Somebody maybe listening on the live stream, texting in, hey, I appreciate y'all, and I couldn't do what y'all do, so kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, this is that person. I looked at it. This is look up the phone number. It's related to a car dealership. I saw that, and there's a picture of the weird guy. I remember doing this now because I was like, oh, this has got to be somebody who kind of knows me. 316 Auto. I just looked it back up, and it goes back to a Facebook page for an auto dealership.
Oh, you mean the guy calling Patrick out?
Yeah, well, I remember doing this back, and I was just like, because it's the way the text is. You're kind of like, all right, that's probably somebody who like knows me, knows y'all, like not they might not like us, but you're like, okay, that's not. I don't think when somebody goes to that extreme, it's not a random. So I was like, all right, let me look this up.
Oh, it's random. Yeah, it looks scary.
And it's like it goes to that car dealership. I was like, what in the world?
And he's religious. The name is a Bible verse of the motors, and he has a
I remember doing this now. I totally forgot. I was like, like I said, when somebody goes to that extreme, you're kind of like, oh, I must know them, or I've ticked them off in the past, or
Saying it was a personal beef.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, okay, like I know. So
very mean for a person whose Facebook is all just pictures of Bible verses.
That is a classic social media response, right?
Oh yeah,
that all the time.
Man.
But that's a weird, and the car dealership's weird, which I don't get either. But that's a whole nother deal.
I will not be purchasing a vehicle from him.
I don't think they have. I feel like
strong comeback.
I'll be purchasing a vehicle for a very long time.
Like I hate to say, his name is Trey Warren.
Oh.
All right, guys, come back in.
I'm not doxing people.
He's friend. Yeah.
So about 2 minutes to the bump. All right, guys, we're up.
Maybe we can blame it on the weather. Some of us in bad moods today. For instance, Robert did not appreciate today's Sudeth Automotive poll question. What's the worst part of the weekend? Bad weather, almost half of the vote. I'm surprised it beat out no football. No football's in second with 35% of the voters. So Valentine's Day in a distant third, and college basketball didn't get too many votes. Robert says, what the? This is an awful poll for this weekend. Jen, how did you allow this? You've had Busch Clash, duels, then trucks, ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup racing all weekend. I'm slightly disappointed in you in this poll.
Luckily, I didn't have anything to do with it.
You're not the only one disappointed. Don't blame Jen. She does do her best to keep the show from going off the rails, producing back in the Herndon Chevrolet studios, but the poll question completely out of her purview. She did not get a vote on that one, so that one's all on us, too, where we've gotten our share of not compliments of insults this morning on the text line as well.
Trey is very upset on the text line. I don't know what Patrick did to Trey. Very upset. Poor Trey. Give that guy a hug.
So, what are we expecting for the weekend, Patrick? You're still feeling good about Valentine's Day?
Oh, I'm feeling great.
Ever?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're nothing different.
Okay, I hope that you come in on Monday and you feel good. You feel as good
Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
We got a long
Tuesday,
weekend.
we're taking Monday off. President's Day coming up. If you have an extended weekend, hope you make the most of it. Maybe shouldn't we expect the bad weather this time of year? If this is as bad as it gets, I think we're in pretty good shape, guys. I think we need to look around the country and see some other areas that are much worse off than we are. Jen, how cold is it back in the homeland today in Illinois? Is it single digits again?
Yeah, it's supposed to be single digits or low teens.
Oof.
I believe it snowed last night in old Frederick, Maryland as well.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Not fun.
27 degrees.
inspirational message from this show today, it might be bad, but it could be worse.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the theme of the show. Really, if you think about it.
And salami is manly, and cinema. What was it?
Cinematic.
Cinematic, yeah.
Can't beat cinematic.
You guys just make stuff up. Maybe people tuned into the live stream. They know what you guys are talking about. You should subscribe to the YouTube page, 1075 The Game.
Oh yeah.
What a sales pitch. What a great way to end the week. Boy, that was something. This is what happens when Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay and wins the Super Bowl.
We're not doing 3 more hours. We're done today. Thank goodness.
You were done at 6:30.
Thanks for listening to the Ear of the Kid. All right, that one will go down in history.
For something. I've got a jet. We've got a call in just a couple minutes with some physicians, so I got to log off.
All right, thanks, Jen.
Hey, thanks, you guys.
Good luck.
Have a good extended weekend.
Enjoy the race.
Yeah, hopefully. Not rained out. See you guys.
Bye. Good call, Alan. We'll start singing Kumbaya as soon as we sign off here. Trey, loving life and not going to let the weather spoil anything. Boy.
Good Trey. That's a good Trey.
Yeah, Trey. That Trey. We weren't talking about you. Not you.
I think we actually, we got two good Treys.
Yeah.
If you had a third one, would it be a tray of trays?
Trey Trio.
Wow. All righty. We're done until Tuesday. Don't tune into the live stream on Monday. We're off.
Inspirational final words from Bill Gunter, ladies and gentlemen. Sums up today's show. Thank you for your help. We could have done it without you, but it would have been something. Trey Cubed, I hear you. You guys have a good weekend, and I think it can only go up from here for some.
I agree. It is awful out there. Be safe. Have fun.
I'm gonna go buy some meat.
Stay warm.